Chapter 1709. Before returning to the 64th state, Sima Yue received the news that the Xianqiu clan and the Ouyang clan led the other clans to the Northern Du clan and exterminated the Northern Du clan. Their tens of thousands of years of foundation was destroyed just like that. At the same time, the Yang family members who were hiding there were also found and killed. Although there were many people who managed to escape, for the huge Northern Du family and Yang family, it was already insignificant. Even if they escaped today, they would not be able to appear so brazenly in the future. They would be hunted down by the entire continent. Furthermore, it was impossible to use those corpses. As long as there was even the slightest trace, it would be discovered. I really didn't expect this matter to be resolved so easily. The stone hanging in Sima Lu Xian's heart finally fell. Although he had expected this result, he was still amazed by the speed. They brought all of this upon themselves. If they didn't do such a thing, it wouldn't be so easy for anyone to touch them. Sima Yue said, "However, I don't think this matter will end so easily." Sima Lu Xian's expression also became dignified. "There are some people behind this who want the world to become chaotic. This is not a small matter. I think the aftermath will be bigger. In the end, we've become someone else's chess piece." Sima Yue sighed. "Don't think too much about it. They were the ones who provoked us first. We were just trying to protect ourselves." Sima Lu Xian said, "Besides, there is no absolute right or wrong in this world. We just have to do what we think is right." Yes. Sima Yue did not feel that she had done anything wrong. The undead were already against the heavenly Tao, not to mention that those people wanted to kill her and her clansmen. Sure enough, a few days later, they received news that the clans and sects supported by the Northern Du clan had all suffered different degrees of blows. Although their names were different at such a sensitive time, everyone could guess a thing or two. Not only that, but among the forces that had participated in the battle back then, a few of them had suffered heavy injuries and their strength had decreased by a lot. Their enemies had taken advantage of the situation and destroyed their clans. After these, there were other forces that joined in the battle. There were news of forces being destroyed one after another, and one after another fell. When Sima Yue heard the news, she had already returned to the Sima family. Other than a sigh, she could not give them anything else. Now, the outside world was changing rapidly, and all of this was driven by her hands. Just like dominoes, she was the first to fall and the rest followed suit. This was no longer something she could control. What touched her the most was the news of the Devil Sword's rebirth. A few years ago, it was unknown who had obtained the Sky Splitter and had been silent for a few years. Who would have thought that it would appear again now? Because of it, the battle outside had become more and more intense, and many people would die every day. Fortunately, those people were apprehensive of the Phoenix clan and the Bird clan, so the forces related to Sima Yue were able to obtain temporary peace in this chaotic world. "Yue, those people asked for it." Little Lucky jumped into her embrace and said, "My father said before that all of this was caused by the greed of humans. If they were not greedy, there would be fewer battles. Some are, but some aren't. They were forced by this situation and had no choice but to get involved in these matters." Sima Yue sighed. "That's what you humans always say about survival of the fittest. The strong survive while the weak are eliminated." Sima Yue looked at Little Lucky, who was tilting her head and racking her brains. She smiled and patted her head. "The outside world is so chaotic. I wonder how Li and Little Roar are doing. Are they in any danger?" And Lei, who had walked in from outside the courtyard, heard her words and smiled. "Young miss, you don't have to worry. With Little Roar's temperament, if he met with any danger, how could he not contact you? Since he didn't, it means that he's having fun and forgetting about home." Sima Yue smiled. "You're right. I'm also confused because I'm involved." "Young miss, you're confused because you're too concerned," Lei said. Sima Yue admitted, but she still sent a message to Shiman Feng, asking him to send more people to protect Shiman Li. After doing this, she said to Enlei, "I promised you before that I'll help you pull out your mother's grave. Since we have time now, let's make a trip there." "Young miss, it's so chaotic outside. We shouldn't go out now. We can go to my mother's grave anytime." Enlei hesitated and rejected. "Are you worried that the Eastern Lai clan will harm me?" Sima Yue said, "Don't worry, they won't do anything to me." Enlei looked at her disapprovingly. "Young miss, I understand the Eastern Lai clan better than you. They don't tolerate betrayal. They already know that you killed Eastern Lai Li and will definitely want to take revenge on you. Since you understand the Eastern Lai clan, you should know that they stopped working with the Northern Du clan as a statement. Don't worry, if they can talk nicely, we'll talk nicely with them. If they don't want to talk nicely, we'll talk with force." Sima Yue waved her fist. Alright, go and prepare. I'll go and talk to father. Sima Lu Xian wanted to go too, but something happened in the clan so he had to stay. The moment she walked out of the clan, Sima Yue's heart suddenly panicked. She subconsciously reached out and pressed her chest, but she couldn't suppress that inexplicable emotion. She turned around and looked at the door of the Sima family. She was a little dazed. It seemed that if she left she wouldn't be able to come back, and Lei saw that her expression was a little off and said, "Young miss, what's wrong?" "I'm fine, let's go." Sima Yue turned around and left. At the same time, Sima Lu Xian, who was discussing something with Sima Jiyuan, also felt a little panicked. It was as if his heart had been hollowed out. "What's wrong with you?" Sima Jiyuan saw that his expression had changed and asked. Sima Lu Xian touched his chest and said, "I feel like something big is going to happen. No, clan master, leave this matter to someone else. I want to go with you." After speaking, he ran out directly without waiting for Sima Jiyuan to say anything. He knew that Sima Yue had left for a while and quickly chased after her. Finally, he caught up with her at the Spirit Master Guild. "Father, why are you here?" Sima Yue blinked to make sure that it wasn't an illusion. "I've talked to your great-grandfather, I'll go with you," Sima Lu Xian said. "You agreed?" "I agreed." Sima Lu Xian said, "Let's go, don't think of leaving father behind." Chapter 17:10. Remember it in 1 second and read it at any time. Mobile users please visit. Sima Yue thought of the feeling she had before she left and nodded. She held Sima Lu Xian's arm and said, "With father around, I'm not afraid of anything. Let's go, there's still some distance to Eastern Lai clan," Sima Lu Xian said. The three of them entered the Soul Master Guild, paid the money, and left through the teleportation array. After a few rounds, they slowly entered the Eastern Lai clan's territory. If only every province had a spatial ship. Sima Yue had used the teleportation array for a month, which was much more uncomfortable than sitting on the teleportation array for a month. The cost of making a spatial transmission was too high, and the materials were not easy to collect. It was impossible for every province to have it. "And Lei, how much longer until we arrive?" Sima Yue asked. "If it's too far, let's rest for a while. We'll be there in about 10 days. And Lei said, "We're already within the Eastern Lai clan's sphere of influence. We'll be there soon." 10 more days? Sima Yue patted her waist. "Forget it, we're not in a hurry anyway. Let's go to a nearby city and rest for 2 days. Of course, Sima Lu Xian and Enlei didn't have any objections. She was the leader anyway, so she could do whatever she wanted. It would only take him 2 days at most. They went to the nearest city and found an inn to rest. Sima Yue remembered that they had been busy recently and had not had a good rest, so she took the two of them out shopping, saying that it was for her to relax. After a day of shopping, the three of them entered a tea house to rest. Sima Yue had a habit of going to the tea house because she could always hear the latest news there. Sure enough, as soon as they sat down, they heard the people at the next table talking about something she was interested in. "Do you guys know? The Devil Sword Sky Splitter seems to have appeared around here," a fully bearded man mysteriously said to the people at the same table. "Sky Splitter Devil Sword?" Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian looked at each other and didn't say anything. They were paying attention to what those people were saying. "Are you telling the truth? Why would the Devil Sword Heaven Splitter appear here?" The other person was extremely surprised. "Didn't you say that it appeared in the first few prefectures? How long ago was that?" "It's been almost 2 years since the two hidden clans brought people to exterminate the Northern Du clan. How could they still be there?" That big bearded man said proudly. "In this 1 year since the birth of the Devil Sword Heaven Splitter, how many people have lost their lives for it? But fortunately, it only appeared for a year before falling silent again. Otherwise, who knows how many storms it would have caused," a white-clothed youth at another table said. At the same table as him, there were a few other people dressed similarly. "Hey, you said that the Devil Sword Heaven Splitter disappeared? Then why did you say that big beard appeared nearby?" someone asked. "Of course, I saw it with my own eyes." The bearded man gulped down a bowl of wine. "You don't know, but I almost lost my life at that time. Fortunately, I ran fast enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to drink here." After he finished speaking, everyone in the tea house laughed. "Big Beard, keep bragging. If you saw the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword, would you still be able to survive? He should have been chopped into pieces long ago. You Big Beard, you've been bragging too much recently." "I'm telling the truth." The bearded man thought that everyone would flatter him, but he didn't expect that no one would believe him. At this time the waiter came to serve tea. Seeing that Sima Yue and the rest were paying attention to the bearded man, he smiled and said, "Guests, don't listen to the bearded man's nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about." "Then why are there so many people listening to him?" Enlei asked. "Isn't everyone just here to pass time and have some fun?" The waiter said, "This bearded man is a regular here. Sometimes when he brags, it really sounds like it's true. It can bring fun to everyone so no one will pursue it. But everyone knows that his words can only be listened to. They can't be believed. Guess your things are all here. Please enjoy." After the waiter finished speaking, he carried the tray down. Sima Yue took a sip of tea and looked at the bearded man. "Bearded man, since you said you've seen it, then describe the scene to us." Someone followed his words. "I'll say it." The bearded man drank another bowl of wine and then talked about how he saw the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword. He said that 10 days ago, he was hunting spirit beasts near a city not far from here and completed a mercenary mission. When he chased the injured spirit beast into the depths of the mountain, he saw two people in the middle of a battle. Sensing that the other party was much stronger than him, he didn't get close. Instead, he chose to hide and watch the situation from afar. The battle between the two was coming to an end. Not long after, one of them killed the other and snatched the sword from the dead man's hand. He even said, "A trash like you is worthy of the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword? You overestimate yourself." When the bearded man heard the name Heaven Splitter Devil Sword and thought of that person's terrifying strength, he hid in the same place and didn't go out. It wasn't until that person left for a long time that he escaped from there. After saying that, he described the appearance of the Devil Sword. After he finished speaking, he looked at the crowd proudly, waiting to hear their cheers. In the end, the entire tea house was silent for a few seconds before everyone burst into laughter. "Ah, bearded man, this is the worst story you've ever made up." "That's right, your storytelling skills have regressed a lot. Bearded man, you're still better at talking about things from the past. Don't come out and embarrass yourself." "That's right, ha." The bearded man's face turned red from their laughter. He didn't know if it was because his lie was exposed or because these people didn't believe him. "What I said is true. This time I really experienced it myself." The bearded man tried to convince others, but no one believed him. Instead, everyone laughed even more happily. "Usually you all believe in lies, but now that I'm telling the truth, you don't believe it." The bearded man was depressed. "Bearded man, it's not that we don't believe you, but your story is too fake. If you saw someone else snatching the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword, and such a powerful person, wouldn't he kill you to silence you and let you escape alive? Bearded man, tell me, is this possible?" "How is it not possible? That person didn't notice me, so I was able to escape." The bearded man said. "But you said that person is very strong." "I have a secret technique to hide my aura. At that time I hid my aura so he didn't notice me." "Boast, continue to boast." "Ah. I'm not talking to you anymore." Seeing that no one believed him, the bearded man was furious. He took out 2 middle-grade crystals, threw them on the table and left. The laughter of the people in the tea house followed him and floated far away. Only Sima Yue and the other two remained silent from beginning to end. Remember, in 1 second, read the highlights at any time. Mobile users, please visit. This chapter is chapter 1700. News of the demonic sword murdering the heavens. The address is //. If you feel that this chapter is not bad, please do not forget to recommend it to your friends in the QQ group and Weibo. Chapter 1711. Humph, you actually don't believe what I said. TSK, you people with no moral character can't see the true face of the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword. I'll wait until I have the strength. Because Big Beard was drunk, he walked a little unsteadily, and his mouth kept muttering. When he turned into an alley, he saw a person at the end of the alley. He narrowed his eyes and looked at him, swaying as he said, "I've seen you before at the tea house. Speak, why are you following me?" Sima Yue did not expect him to be so quick-witted when he was drunk. She stood deep in the alley with her hands behind her back and said, "I'm just here to listen to the rest of your story." "What story?" The bearded man was stunned and didn't understand what she meant. "The story you didn't finish in the tea house," Sima Yue said. "Do you believe what I said?" The bearded man was happy. He didn't expect that someone would believe him and come to listen to his story. Sima Yue smiled at him. "Yes, I believe you." "What?" The bearded man looked at her suspiciously. Why did she believe him when no one in the tea house believed him? Under Sima Yue's easygoing gaze, the smile on her face faded. "Because I've seen. Have you seen him before?" What had she seen? Sky Splitter Devil Sword? The bearded man's brain short-circuited. I've seen the demonic sword Sky Splitter before. It's just like what you described before. So I believe what you said is true. Sima Yue said, "Can you tell me more about the situation? Little girl, seeing how beautiful you are, I still advise you not to have any ideas about the demon sword, or else you will lose your life." Thinking of the scene he saw that night, he sobered up a lot. When Sima Yue saw his expression, she knew that things were not as simple as he had said in the tea house. "Because I've seen the devil sword Sky Splitter before, I'm a little curious about its owner. You just have to say what you want, it's my business whether or not I want it." Sima Yue took out a spatial bag and threw it to him as she spoke. It was filled with crystals. When the bearded man saw that there were so many spar inside, he was overjoyed. He placed the space bag inside his spatial ring and then said, "That night what I saw was actually not a battle between two people, but a person using the devil sword Sky Splitter to slaughter a group of people. That's a few hundred monarch-level experts. TSK, don't leave a single one alive." Sima Yue frowned. She did not expect this to happen. "Did you get a good look at the person holding the sword?" "How can I see it clearly? That person was wearing a cloak that could isolate divine sense. He didn't take it off from beginning to end. I don't know what he looked like at all." Big Beard said, "But I think he's a madman." "Why?" "Because I found that when he killed, he seemed to be a little delirious, or rather, he couldn't control himself. There were a few times when I saw him hesitate, but he still killed those people cruelly." Big Beard said, "It's said that this devil sword can control a person's mind. I think he must have been controlled." "Where is the place you're talking about?" "It's in the Green Dragon Mountain, a few 100,000 kilometers away from you." "Did you do anything at that time? Did you collect the corpses of those people?" "I was scared, silly. When I came to my senses, I only wanted to run. How could I think of anything else?" Big Beard said, "I got it. You can go." Sima Yue nodded. "Let me give you a piece of advice. If you still want to live, don't mention this matter again. If that person knows that you witnessed the situation, I'm afraid you won't be able to talk so loudly in the tea house anymore." After saying that, she silently disappeared from her original spot. There was no movement in the air at all. Big Beard even suspected that he was hallucinating. He looked inside his spatial ring. The space bag with the crystals was still there. This meant that this was not an illusion. Thinking of the advice she gave before she left, he couldn't help but shudder. She was right. If that person knew about this, he would definitely lose his life. He looked around the alley. After confirming that there was no one around, he quickly left the city. In the future he would never come back. When Sima Yue returned to the tea house, the people inside were still talking about Big Beard's bragging. "Did you ask clearly?" "Yes." Sima Yue sat down and told them what she asked. Then she said, "Should we go to the Green Dragon Mountain to take a look?" "Miss, the Green Dragon Mountain is under the jurisdiction of the Green Dragon clan. Could this be done by the Green Dragon clan?" And Lei asked, "It's possible that they died." Sima Yue guessed. "Anyway, it's not far from here. Let's go and take a look." Sima Lu Xian said. He knew that Sima Yue had been brooding about the birth of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword. She felt that if it wasn't for her, nothing would happen to the Devil Sword and it wouldn't have brought so much trouble and death. Now that they were so close to the Devil Sword, she definitely wanted to check it out. "Miss, the Green Dragon clan is the eyes of the Eastern Lai clan. If we go, should we disguise ourselves?" And Lei asked. "No need. We didn't sneak in." Sima Yue said, "Also, if I didn't guess wrongly, the Eastern Lai clan already knows that we're here." So, the three of them returned to the inn, checked out and rushed to the Green Dragon Mountain. Because the distance wasn't very far, Sima Yue directly let Chongming ride. 2 days later they appeared at the place that Big Beard mentioned. The entire hillside and valley were filled with corpses. Judging from the degree of decomposition, they had indeed been dead for more than 10 days. Sima Yue looked around and found many fresh footprints. She said, "It seems that someone has beaten us to it. It seems that we weren't the only ones who believed Big Beard's words in the tea house. Miss, look." And Lei pointed to a corpse in the distance. "Is that Big Beard?" They went over and saw Big Beard lying on the ground, staring at the sky with his eyes wide open. Before he died, his eyes revealed endless remorse. "He died less than half a day ago." Sima Yue said, "Those people should have caught him later and brought him here. They didn't find any news about the Devil Sword, so they killed him. Who asked him to boast in a place like the tea house?" And Lei didn't feel sorry for Big Beard's death. He deserved it. "These corpses." Sima Lu Xian looked at the corpses carefully. "So many people died, but there aren't many bloodstains on the ground. Have you seen how it killed people?" The Devil Sword Sky Splitter is bloodthirsty. It should have sucked their blood. Sima Yuyue's heart sank. Using blood to nourish the sword, this book came from. Chapter 17:12. They looked around but couldn't find any clues. Back then that person had acted very decisively. Even if he had left behind some clues, they had still been found by those who had come before him. Looks like we won't be able to see anything. We can't bury so many people one by one. Just burn it. Sima Yue said. Miss, these people's clothes are all from the Azure Dragon clan. I think we should inform the Azure Dragon clan to come and collect the corpses. And Lei reminded. She was more familiar with this place and knew what to do. All right then. Sima Yue said, let's get the Scarlet Bees to inform them, we'll continue on our way. Aren't you going to investigate the demon sword? And Lei asked. We don't have a clue about the demon sword and it happened more than 10 days ago. We don't have any clues, so staying here won't do us any good. Sima Yue said, although I really want to solve this problem, I won't rush blindly. You're right. If we encounter it, we can continue to investigate. If we don't have any clues, continuing to persist is a waste of time. Sima Lu Xian agreed with her idea. Previously, he was worried that she would dig her way into a dead end, but now he was relieved. Someone's coming. Sima Yue said, there are a lot of them, we can't face them head-on, let's hide first. After saying that, she brought Sima Lu Xian and Enlei into the Spirit Pagoda and observed the situation outside through the Spirit Pagoda. Miss, they're from the Azure Dragon clan. Enlei reminded when she saw the people flying over. Sima Yue noticed that these people were wearing the same clothes as the people on the ground. They were wearing navy blue robes with their hair tied up in a high ponytail. The purple gold belt made them look very energetic. Eldest senior brother, it really is the missing brothers. Who killed them? When the people of the Azure Dragon School saw the corpses of their fellow disciples scattered all over the valley, their eyes turned red and they were very angry. It seems that the person who sent us the message was right. They were all killed by the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword. The person who was addressed as eldest senior brother observed the corpses and noticed that they were different from ordinary corpses. He looked around again and said with a frown, strange. A woman walked up to her and asked, is there something wrong? When we arrived here, I clearly sensed someone's aura. Our speed was so fast, but the other party actually disappeared. Eldest senior brother said. Could it be an illusion? Eldest senior brother looked around again. Indeed, there was no one. Perhaps. Otherwise they would have escaped. He instructed his fellow disciples. Check their tokens and see which peak they belong to. Once you're done, bury their bodies on the spot. Yes, senior brother. Sima Yu and the other two watched from the Spirit Pagoda as the people outside rummaged through the corpses to register them. After that, they recorded their identities and took their things. Finally, they dug a huge hole and buried all the corpses together. After everything was settled, they all left. Enlei said that those people could leave now, but Sima Yue waited for a while longer. A few minutes later, those people came back. Seeing the empty valley, eldest senior brother's eyebrows were still furrowed. Why do I feel like someone is watching us? Was it really just my imagination? He muttered to himself before leaving with his men. Sima Yue waited for a while. After confirming that they had really left, she came out of the Spirit Pagoda. That person is really sensitive. Sima Lu Xian sighed. I know that eldest senior brother. He's a core disciple of the Azure Dragon clan. It's said that he's very talented and meticulous. He's also very capable. He's being nurtured as the next leader. Enlei said. Since they've already buried them, we don't have to care about them. Let's go to Eastern Lai clan. After walking for a while, they arrived at a sea area. Eastern Lai clan was on an island in the middle of the sea area. Enlei brought them to a small town by the sea. From an outsider's point of view, this small town was no different from the others. There were fishing nets everywhere and there were pickled dried fish. This is the entrance to Eastern Lai clan? Sima Yue looked at the small town and said with some surprise. Wasn't this too different from Xianqiu clan and Northern Du clan? Outsiders can only enter through the teleportation array here. Enlei said, Eastern Lai clan's people can't. But if we go in like that, we might be killed as invaders before we even get close. I really didn't expect that Eastern Lai clan would hide behind such an inconspicuous small town. Sima Yue sighed, then what should we do next? Go find the mayor and let him contact the island. He'll only open the teleportation array for us if they agree. Enlei said. You should know where the teleportation array is, right? Why can't we go by ourselves? Sima Yue asked. For the safety of the clan, this teleportation array is specially made. Only the mayor's spiritual energy can open it. He's like a key. Only he can open it. Enlay said. Others can't? What about Eastern Lai clan? I just said that the clansmen usually don't go through this path. Enlay said. Alright, using a person as a key. This method was indeed quite safe. As long as the mayor was unwilling, no one could force their way through here. Even if they killed him, it would be the same. Let's go find the mayor, Sima Lu Xian said. Enlay brought them to the mayor's house. When the mayor got the news, he quickly came out of his house and personally welcomed them in. Miss Yue, please take a seat. The mayor happily brought them to the living room. He wasn't surprised by their arrival. Thank you. Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian sat down. Enlay stood behind Sima Yue. Enlay, you followed Miss Yue. Look at you now. You're much more cheerful than before. The mayor said with a smile. Miss treats me very well. Enlay replied indifferently. The mayor's words seemed to be very familiar with her, but Enlay's attitude was very calm. She didn't offend him, but she didn't get close to him either. He didn't care about her in the past. What was there to say now? Mayor Eastern Lai, we're here today for something. We want to go to Eastern Lai clan. I wonder if you can contact them? Sima Yue said directly. The clan already knew that Miss Yue came here. So they sent an order over. If you want to go to the island, there's no need to report. We'll send you there directly. No need to report? They already knew that we would come? They didn't know. They just said that if you came, you can go there directly. Aren't you afraid that I'll harm you? My clan master said that Miss Yue isn't that kind of person. Since you're in a hurry, I'll send you there now. This book came from Chapter 1713. Sima Yue did not expect the Donglai family to be so sincere. Please search to see the most complete. They knew that if they didn't provoke her, she wouldn't do anything to them, so they tried their best to show their sincerity. Perhaps they knew that if Sima Yue insisted on going to the island, they would not be able to stop her. The mayor brought them to an inconspicuous courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard, there was a huge teleportation array. When Yue and the other two walked to the center, the mayor injected his spiritual power into the array and activated it. The three of them quickly disappeared. Enlay really found a good home. If only Miss could have someone like her. The rest of his words were drowned in a long sigh. Sima Yue arrived at East Lai Island. At first, the people guarding the teleportation portal were a little surprised to see someone coming over. However, when they saw Enlay, they let their guard down. Miss Yue, the patriarch invites you in. A man who looked like he was in charge came in from outside. Obviously, the family here had received news of her arrival. Please lead the way. Sima Yue smiled politely when she saw the steward's attitude. The Eastern Lai clan was right in the middle of Eastern Lai Island. They had built a huge palace. Sima Yue followed that person directly to the biggest palace. She saw the Eastern Lai clan leader and his wife waiting there. They were also Eastern Lai Li's parents. Miss Yue, please take a seat. Eastern Lai Li's father waved his hand at Sima Yue, indicating for her to sit on the seat below. As juniors, Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian bowed to them and sat at the side. You are Sima Yue. Eastern Lai Li's mother's attitude was much colder. She felt uncomfortable facing her daughter's murderer. However, she did not intend to apologize to them because she was not the one in the wrong. If Eastern Lai Li didn't want to kill her, she wouldn't have killed her. She was the effect, not the cause. May I know the purpose of Miss Yue's visit to my island this time? Patriarch Donglai asked. Actually, it's very simple. Enlay wants to bring her mother's grave out. Now that she's with me, her mother's grave naturally has to be moved. Therefore, I would like to ask Master and Madam of the Donglai family to do us a favor. Sima Yue explained her intentions. The family head's wife glanced at Enlay. Enlay seemed to be very afraid of the family head's wife. Just that glance made her body involuntarily shrink. Is that all you want to talk about? Haha, for such a small matter you can just let Enlay do it. There's no need for you to personally make this trip. The Donglai family head laughed loudly. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him in her heart. If only Enlay came, she might not be able to return. I have nothing to do at home recently, so I came out for a walk. Although Enlay came to my place in the name of my maid, she and I are like sisters. I naturally have to accompany her when it comes to moving graves, she said with a smile. Then when do you plan to move? As soon as possible. Before we came, we asked someone to calculate the time. Tonight is the best time, Sima Yue said with a smile. She realized that ever since they arrived, Enlay's emotions had become very tense. Her body had been in a tense state, so she wanted to settle this matter as soon as possible and leave. If that's the case, I'll get someone to prepare it, the Dong Lai family head said enthusiastically. There's no need for that. Everything that needs to be prepared has been prepared. We just need to go over when the time comes, Sima Yue said. That's fine too, the Dong Lai family head said. There's still a few hours before midnight. Do you want to rest in the guest room or let someone bring you around the island for a tour? Since Enlei used to be a maid here, then let her show us around. She should know where she can go and where she can't. Enlei is no longer a maid on the island. How can we let her do the work of a maid? How about this, I'll send 2 stewards to bring you around. Then we'll have to trouble you, Dong Lai family head. Sima Yue did not decline anymore. Sending people to follow them was also a form of surveillance. If this could make them feel at ease and the matter could be resolved smoothly, then so be it. After they left, tears fell from the madam's eyes. The Dong Lai family head glared at her impatiently. Why are you crying? You're so unlucky. I don't want to either, but when I see her, I think of our dead daughter. The madam's tears fell even harder. She only has herself to blame for that. If you didn't spoil her so much, she wouldn't have ended up like this. Me? Are you blaming me now? As Lier's parents, we couldn't avenge her after she died. Instead, we blamed her for provoking someone she shouldn't have. That's not what you taught Li when she was alive. The madam shouted angrily. Isn't it because you spoiled her? The Dong Lai family head was sad when he mentioned Eastern Lai Li. Forget it. No matter what, it's all in the past. I'll tell you one more time. Sima Yue is not someone we can touch now. If you're thinking about the family, then put away those thoughts you had in the past. Otherwise, the entire family will die because of your actions. I understand too. Otherwise, why haven't I done anything until now? Sima Yue. If we had killed her the first time we met her, our child wouldn't have died. What kind of thoughts are you having? Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk to you. The Dong Lai family head was helpless because this was not the first time she had this thought. The other party didn't offend her at all, but she wanted to nip the problem in the bud, regardless of whether it would hurt the innocent. Some of Eastern Lai Li's thoughts were influenced by her. Sima Yue and the rest walked around some places and finally came to the seaside to watch the sunset. The 2 stewards were left behind by Sima Yue. Young mistress, although it's not right to speak ill of master in the past, you mustn't be influenced by them. Enlei said. Do you think your young mistress is such a foolish person? Their kindness towards us is only based on our current power. They aren't really kind. If the Dong Lai family was kind, you wouldn't have suffered so much in the past. Those who betrayed the family wouldn't have been hunted down. Of course, they wouldn't have developed a personality like Eastern Lai Li's. Sima Yue said, but this is good for us. It's helpful for the things we need to deal with. Then we don't have to pursue so much. There are many bad people in this world, but as long as they don't provoke us, we don't have to kill them all. I'm just afraid that young mistress will be bewitched by them and let her guard down, falling into their trap. Enlei said uneasily. This book came from Chapter 1714. Sima Yue knew that Enlei was wary of the Dong Lai family. It was imprinted in her bones since she was young. It was not something that could be changed after following her for a few years. Please search to see the most complete. Update the fastest. Don't worry. She patted Enlei's hand and suddenly understood how Aunt Feng and the others felt when they patted her hand. Relax, no one will dare to bully you here. Yes. Although Enlei said so, she was still very cautious. Don't be afraid, father and I are here. Sima Yue smiled at her. Enlei's eyes instantly reddened. In the past, when she was bullied here, she wished that someone would say to her, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." At that time, her life had been so difficult, but no one had ever said that. He didn't expect to hear these words when he returned. Miss. She held Sima Yue's hand and felt a lump in her throat. She could not say anything else. How old are you? Why are you still crying? Sima Yue poked her nose and teased. I didn't. It's just that the sea breeze is too strong, causing me to squint. Enlei said embarrassedly. Sima Yue smiled and stopped teasing her. When the time came, an elder came to take them to the cemetery. The whole process was very simple. Sima Yue, her father, and Enlei lit incense for her mother. Then, the guards from the Dong Lai family started to dig the grave until the coffin was unearthed. Enlei walked over and held onto the coffin with both hands as tears streamed down her face. Mother, I'll take you with me. She cried for a while before keeping the coffin into her space ring and returning to Sima Yue's side. Enlei, where's your father? My father once went out to sea and died at sea. That's why there are no skeletons. Anlay wiped her tears. When my mother was buried, my father's belongings were also placed inside. It can be considered as a joint burial for them. Now our family can be reunited again. Sima Yue understood and said to the clan elder, "Clan elder, now that the coffin has been retrieved, we still have to rush back for the auspicious time to be buried. Could you please do us a favor and send us out?" "So fast?" The clan head also said to let you stay on the island for a few more days so that we can do our best as hosts. The elder said with some surprise. "We have already calculated the time. Otherwise, it would be a long time before the next auspicious hour. That's why I'm in a rush," Sima Yue said casually. "Since that's the case, we really can't keep you here. I'll send you out now." After the elder made the suggestion, he was secretly delighted and couldn't wait to send them away. After Sima Yue and the other two left, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally sent this god of plague away. It was great that no conflict had occurred. The people in the town did not expect them to return so soon. Before they could inform the mayor, Sima Yue and the rest had already left. After getting her mother's body, the thing that Enlai had been thinking about was finally done. She was in a good mood along the way. "Miss, did you notice that the moment the teleportation array was activated, those people's expressions were really nice? Diske, I've never seen them like that before. It was as if we were the god of plague. Now that we're finally gone, it's really worth celebrating," Enlai said with a smile. Who would describe themselves like that? Sima Yue also found it funny. Because they had a grudge with her when she came here, they all acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Now that she was gone, they would naturally be relieved. "Speaking of which, where do you plan to bury your mother?" Enlai shook her head and said, "I don't want to bury her. I'll just bring them along. This way, no matter where we go, our family of 3 will be together." She touched her space ring. As long as she was still here, her family of 3 would be here. Are we going back now?" Sima Luxian asked. He didn't forget the uneasiness he had before. The feeling of losing her was so strong. So, now that the matter was settled, he wanted to bring her back. His father and the others said that her luck was too good and there would be a great tribulation. Wu Lingyu also said that his luck was too good at that time, so he died early. Thinking of the premonition from before, he panicked. Sima Yue noticed that something was wrong with Sima Luxian and asked, "Father, what's wrong?" "Nothing." Sima Luxian shook his head. "I remembered that there are still things in the family. If there's nothing else, let's go back." Sima Yue looked at him suspiciously and nodded in agreement. Anyway, she didn't have anything to do. She could go back and cultivate. When her strength increased, she could use the secret method Mo gave her to go to the Ghost Realm. She actually thought of going to the Ghost Realm through Ghost City, but she asked Siyu before. Siyu said that there was not only a lightning tribulation in Ghost City, but also some other tribulations. If she could go there, even if she could avoid the lightning tribulation, she would probably die. And if she went to the Ghost Realm without strength, she would be easily obliterated. So, she still worked hard to cultivate and improve her strength. It was safer to use Mo's method. Moreover, her strength was almost reaching the requirements. As long as she cultivated for a few more years, she should be able to break through. However, before they reached home, Sima Yue received Little Roar's request for help. He said that he and Shimonli were captured and brought to the inner region. Sima Yue panicked when she heard it. But when she heard that those people didn't have the intention to kill them, she didn't rush off. Father, Li and Little Roar were captured. I want to save them. Why don't you go home first? Sima Yue thought of Sima Luxian saying that the family had something to do and wanted him to go back alone. Sima Luxian saw Shimonli at Shimin Feng's wedding and knew that she was very important to Sima Yue. She would definitely go and save them. Going home was his excuse. How could he let her go alone now? The family matters can be put aside for a while. I'll go with you. Okay. Sima family had some enemies recently. If she let him go back alone, she wouldn't be at ease. Little Roar, where are you now? Sima Yue contacted Little Roar. I don't know. I just heard them say that they are in the 20th state. Little Roar said, Yu, come and save me. Sob, I'm so scared. 20th state. Sima Yue filtered the forces in the 20th state in her mind. She eliminated those forces that were not related to her in Paramount Valley. Then she guessed who captured Little Roar and the rest. But she couldn't think of anyone in the 20th state who had any grudges with them. How are you guys now? It seemed that she could only guess from the environment. I'm fine. Leo was poisoned and can't use spirit energy. Little Roar replied, Oh right, there are many women here other than us. Many women? Yes, they are the same as Leo. They were all drugged and locked in a courtyard. There are many experts here. They seem to be monitoring us. This book came from Chapter 17:15. Sima Yue felt much more at ease after hearing this. In other words, this wasn't an operation targeted at them. They just happened to run into them. Furthermore, looking at how many women were locked up, these people should have been searching everywhere for women with certain conditions, and Li just happened to meet their conditions, so she was captured and brought back. Little Roar, pay attention to the situation on your side. If there are any changes, contact me immediately. Let's hurry over now. She instructed Little Roar. I know. You have to come quickly. Little Roar felt wronged. He had clearly followed them out to eat, drink, and play, but now he had fallen into danger. He was really unlucky. Sima Yue did not cut off her connection with Little Roar. This way she would be the first to know if there was any danger. Father, let's go to the 20th prefecture now. On Little Roar's side, he was lying weakly in Shimin Li's embrace. How is it, did you manage to contact sister? Shimin Li asked. Although she was a little scared, she didn't panic. She still looked calm. Yes, but the inner region is huge. It will take some time for you to rush over. For this period of time we can only be trapped here. Little Roar said. I'm sorry I've implicated you. Shimin Li blamed herself. How can I blame you for this? I didn't protect you well. You asked me to follow you to protect you. Little Roar sighed as he spoke. Sigh, if it wasn't for that fellow of yours being in a deep sleep, we wouldn't have ended up like this. I didn't expect that after absorbing those things, my strength didn't increase. Instead, it caused it to fall into a deep sleep. Shimin Li sighed. Do really didn't advance at the right time. That fellow's strength has increased. Later on, when he returns to you, you will advance in rank. Little Roar thought that Shimin Li was troubled by the fact that her strength did not increase, so he comforted her instead. Don't worry, Little Roar, I won't let anything happen to you. Shimin Li stroked his head and said with a resolute gaze. I won't let anything happen to you either. Little Roar rubbed himself against Shimin Li's chest, taking the opportunity to take advantage of her. Shimin Li felt her little movement and poked its head with her finger. Let's go to other places to take a look. She carried Little Roar and left her room, trying to see the people in other rooms. There was a lady living in each room. When those people saw Shimin Li, they all revealed terrified expressions. Some of the doors were not even open, so they did not know who was living inside. These people are so cowardly. Little Roar muttered softly. He should be frightened. Shimin Li said. She walked to the room at the side and saw a woman in red. That woman was sitting leisurely in front of the door, squinting her eyes as she basked in the sun. Hello. Shimin Li took the initiative to greet her. That girl opened her eyes and saw Shimin Li. She did not plan to pay attention to her, but when she saw Little Roar in her arms, a trace of darkness flashed past her eyes. You've got guts. The woman sat up. You're the first one who dares to walk out of here. Little Roar was already squinting his eyes and preparing to sleep, but when he heard this voice, his body trembled. He looked at the woman in disbelief and pointed his short leg at her, saying, why are you here? That woman grabbed his short leg and pulled him over. She rubbed it twice and snorted, Why can't I be here? Shimin Li saw her and Little Roar like that and asked, Do you know each other? Yes, we know each other. This fellow even snatched my food to eat. The woman thought of their past grudges and rubbed it twice. See you, if you do this, I'll make you not cook for you in the future. Little Roar could not escape from her evil claws and could only threaten her. See you heard Little Roar's threat and stopped rubbing it. Instead, she grabbed its neck and said, Where's that despicable fellow in your house? He hasn't contacted me for so long. Did he forget about me as a friend? See you? Your big sister See you? Shimin Li heard Little Roar's words and looked at See you curiously. See you looked at Shimin Li and asked, Who are you? Where is you? I'm Shimin Li. I've heard big sister mention you before. Shimin Li smiled and said. See you looked her up and down and said, You're Shimin Li? Why does this Yue fellow look so different? Shimin Li smiled and didn't reply. She couldn't possibly say that she looked like the previous Shimin Yue, right? Big sister See you, how did you get caught and brought here? She asked. Of course I wouldn't. See you paused mid-sentence and rubbed her nose, saying, I was too careless, that's why I was captured and brought here. It was the first time Shimin Li met her, so she didn't understand her. She was obviously guilty. Then have you been here for a long time? Shimin Li asked again. Yes, I've been here for 2 months. Speaking of this, See you pouted and muttered softly, It's been so long. That person really won't come and find me, right? Thinking of this, her heart hurt a little. She threw little Roar aside and patted Shimin Li's shoulder, saying, "You don't have to be afraid. I'll keep you safe." "Thank you, big sister Siyu." Shimin Li replied, even though she didn't believe it. Sima Yu had only mentioned Siyu to her, but she didn't say anything else. That was why she didn't know Siyu's identity, nor did she know her strength. She didn't believe that she would be able to protect her. On the contrary, she felt that when little Do woke up, she would bring Siyu out. She was big sister's friend. "You don't seem to be afraid at all?" Siyu saw how calm she was and said, "I've seen many women who were caught and brought here. They were all so scared. I'm scared, but I know it's useless to be scared." Shimin Li said, "Why don't we observe the situation here and see if there's a chance to escape? Also, big sister said she would come and save me." "Yue will come?" Siyu asked in surprise. "Yeah. Then we'll wait. I haven't seen her in a long time." Siyu's smile was a little treacherous. It made Shimin Li worried that she would do something when she saw Sima Yue. Siyu laid back on her rocking chair and saw little Roar running back. She threatened, "You're not allowed to tell your master that I'm here. Otherwise I'll pluck out all the fur on your body." Little Roar's short legs froze and his body froze for 2 seconds. Then he turned around and ran away. He must stay away from this woman who snatched food from him. A woman who was a foodie, strong and petty and loved to take revenge was the scariest. Siyu saw little Roar's appearance and laughed loudly. The unhappiness in her heart dissipated a lot. She didn't know where Yue found this clown. She would find one later so that she could tease him when she was in a bad mood. This book came from Chapter 17-16. Due to the fact that he cherished every single strand of hair on his body, little Roar returned to his room and pondered for a while. In the end, he decided not to tell Sima Yue about this matter. "Anyway, this woman is with Yu. It doesn't matter if Yu doesn't know. But if I did, that woman would definitely pluck out all my hair. Yu was far away while this woman was close. I still had to be on guard against this woman. Even if Yu knows, she won't blame me." After it thought it through, it ran to Shimin Li's bed and lay on its back, sleeping peacefully. Shimin Li realized that Siyu was a talkative person and was also a meticulous person. She was very familiar with the situation here, how many guards there were and how strong they were. "Big sister Siyu, how do you know the strength of those people?" Shimin Li asked curiously. "Isn't that simple? Just sense it." Siyu said. "But weren't our cultivations sealed? How did you sense it? Could it be?" "Shoo, you only need to know this, don't yell." Siyu covered her mouth. "Don't be fooled by the fact that there's no one here. There's someone watching us in the dark." With that, she pulled Shimin Li into the room and set up a barrier. Shimin Li stuck out her tongue apologetically and said, "Sorry, I was just too surprised. But Sister Siyu, are you really not poisoned?" "My spiritual energy is different from yours, so of course I wasn't poisoned." Siyu said. "Then why have you stayed here for 2 months and not found a chance to leave?" Sigh. Siyu let out a long sigh. "I knew I was waiting for someone to save me, but I obviously overestimated my position. I've decided. When your sister comes to save us, I'll go with you. I'm not waiting anymore and I'm not thinking about it anymore." "You don't want to? Don't think about what?" Shimin Li blinked and looked at her curiously. "It's nothing." Siyu waved her hand. "Right, when is your sister coming?" "I don't know, it'll take a few days." Shimin Li said, "I wonder if there will be any changes during this period of time. We haven't caught enough people yet, so there won't be any changes for now." Siyu wasn't worried at all. "Big sister Siyu, do you know why those people captured us?" Shimin Li asked. "I don't know about that. Those people didn't mention it either. But it seems like he's waiting for someone." Siyu said, "Since they captured us but didn't hurt us and all of us are so pretty, they might want to capture us to do something bad like selling us to a brothel or selling us as human cauldrons." Maybe it's what I'm thinking." Shimin Li saw that Siyu was getting more and more excited as she talked about you and the corners of her mouth twitched. The light in Siyu's eyes wasn't fear, right? What was she so excited about? Wasn't he afraid that she would be used as a human cauldron? Most people wouldn't show such an expression in such a situation, right? Siyu realized that she had scared Shimin Li and said, "Don't worry, if there's any danger, I'll definitely protect you." "Who asked you to call me big sister?" A few days later, those people caught a few more beautiful women and brought them in. Like them, they were poisoned and unable to use their spiritual energy. The women were all scared out of their wits. Their eyes were filled with fear. Siyu and Shimin Li were eating melon seeds in front of the door. She popped out the shell of the melon seed and said, "Did you see that?" This is the expression that people who just came in should have. Siyu smiled. She wasn't panicking at that time, mainly because she knew that dough ball was about to come out. Also, she had contacted Sima Yue, so her heart was at ease. More and more people have been caught these few days. I don't know what they want to do. Shiminli said. Let's see. We shouldn't have to wait much longer. Siyu said, most of them have been caught, and the mastermind is about to appear. This morning, Big Sister told Little Roar that they had already reached the 20th state. But because they didn't know where this was, they could only rely on their connection with Little Roar to find their way here. That's why they slowed down when they reached here. They're here so quickly. It seems like she really cares about you, her younger sister. Siyu said enviously, it's so good to have an older sister. If CZ and the others heard this, they would be depressed to death. She didn't have an older sister, but she had a bunch of older brothers, all right? Suddenly she saw one of the guards and froze. She stared at him in shock. That guard felt uncomfortable being stared at by her and furrowed his brows, saying, Big brother, those two women are together. Will there be a problem? That big brother followed his gaze and said, it's fine. It's just two women. What can they do? Can they escape? That's true. We'll be able to complete our mission if we catch 10 more. The two of you throw these women into the room. We'll go back. The guard who was being stared at by Siyu left with his big brother without turning back. Siyu ran back to her room and jumped up happily. Big sister Siyu, are you alright? Shiminli saw that she was so happy and wondered if she had gone crazy from the shock. He came to save me, he came to save me. Aha, he has me in his heart. Siyu grabbed Shiminli's arms and said happily, do you know any of those guards? Shiminli only glanced at the guards and didn't look carefully. After that, she had her back facing the guards and didn't know who Siyu was talking about. He's here. I knew it. I've been with him for so many years, he wouldn't have no feelings for me. Siyu swept away the depression from the past few days and was so excited that she couldn't stop. Oh, I understand. You didn't run away during this period because you wanted to see if your sweetheart would come to save you, right? Shiminli was infected by her smile and became happy as well. It's great now. He's here. Third MO is here. You really came. Third MO? You're talking about third MO? The one who has a good relationship with Big Sister? Shiminli looked at her in surprise. Was the third MO she was talking about the third MO she knew? That's right, it's him. He put on a disguise just now, but I still recognized him. It's him. See, he'll definitely come to find me tonight. Siyu felt that today was the happiest day in years. If that's the case, he definitely knows where this is. When he comes tonight, we'll ask him. That night, a figure quickly rushed into Siyu's room and was stunned when he saw the people in the room. Why are you guys here? Third MO said this to Shiminli and Little Roar. Shiminli knew from his tone that this stranger who she didn't recognize in the morning was Third MO. She looked at the person whose aura had completely changed and wondered how Siyu could recognize him. This book came from Chapter 1717. Shiminli was still puzzled when Siyu ran over excitedly and hugged Third MO, saying, Third MO, you're here to save me, right? Third MO frowned and reached out to pull her away, saying, you're not poisoned. Why aren't you running? Of course, Siyu wouldn't be so foolish as to say that she wanted to see if he would save her. She stuck out her tongue and said, there are so many experts, how can I win? You really can't win? Third MO looked at her in disbelief. Of course not. Look, there are so many experts and I'm alone. Siyu tugged on his sleeve, not caring about his attitude. Third MO clearly didn't believe her words, but he didn't say anything else. He looked at Shiminli and asked, why were you captured and brought here? Shiminli originally wanted to watch the two of them fight. Her curious little eyes darted around the two of them. Just as she was thinking if she should leave, Third MO looked over. She hurriedly put away the curiosity on her face and replied, when Little Roar and I were traveling in the central region, we met this group of people. They didn't say anything and just captured us. How did your brother's men protect you? Third MO's face darkened. Luckily, the people they met didn't kill her directly. Otherwise they would regret it. That. Shiminli was a little unnatural as her finger kept poking Little Roar. Third MO immediately understood. He looked at Little Roar and said, it gave you a rotten idea to shake off those guards? Yes. Shiminli replied softly, I also feel that I won't grow up under their protection. There was no one to protect her when she traveled in the past. You. Third MO was exasperated. Is the situation now the same as before? Now that the continent is so chaotic with your little strength, you dare to come out alone? Do you know how many people hate your sister to the bone because of the matter with the undead? If they capture you to threaten your sister or kill you, what do you want your sister to do? Should I risk my life to save you or blame myself for your death for the rest of my life? Shiminli was stunned. Previously, she did think that she could grow faster if she roamed alone, but she didn't think of the latter layer. I'm sorry, it's no use apologizing to me. Be more careful in the future, okay? Third Mo was really like a big brother when he lectured her. Shiminli felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. No one had scolded her like this for so many years. Her brothers and sisters had carried the hatred on their backs, and everyone had spoiled her. That was why she had such a pure personality. Sima Yue also realized that she was too naive. That was why she allowed her to travel and broaden her horizons. Fortunately, she was innocent and did not become an arrogant and despotic young lady under everyone's love. She bit her lips. She knew that although Third Mo's words were unpleasant, he was absolutely right. I can't do this again in the future. Siyu looked at Shiminli, who had her head lowered, looking as if she had done something wrong. She tugged at the clothes in her hands and said, "All right, don't talk about Li anymore. She's in the central region, how would she know about the recent changes in the inner region? Aren't you here to save her? Why are you saying so much?" Third Mo glared at her. "I need to change my plan. It's not a problem to save you, but if I have to bring her along, it'll be difficult to not alert those people. I need to change my plan." "You don't need to change your plan. Just tell me where we are. When Yue rushes over with both of you together, are you still afraid that you won't be able to bring us out?" Siyu said. "Yue is coming?" "That's right. Little Roar contacted Yue a few days ago. She's already in the 20th state, but because she doesn't know where this is, she can only rely on her connection with Little Roar to rush over. Her speed is a little slow. If she knows the exact location, she'll be able to come over quickly." Siyu said. "Then I'll contact her." Third Mo said. "It's so troublesome for you to contact her. Just tell her the exact location and let Little Roar tell her. It'll save time." Third Mo thought about it and agreed. The earlier she came over, the earlier Siyu and the others would be safe. Little Roar then told Sima Yue that Siyu was here as well. He also said that Third Mo came over and told her the exact location. Sima Yue then knew that they were here as well. She was even more assured of Shiminli's safety. If it was someone else, she wouldn't be so confident. But Siyu would definitely not be bullied. When she heard Little Roar say that Siyu had been locked up for 2 months, she found it strange. With that girl's strength and background, how could she be locked up for so long? Later on, when she heard that Third Mo was here, she instantly understood and sighed at this girl. "You didn't tell me such an important thing. I'll deal with you when I get back." Little Roar was threatened by her and shrunk his neck. He said aggrievedly, "It's not that I didn't want to tell you, but Siyu threatened me. She said that if I told you, she would pluck all my fur. Sob you, I'm so pitiful. Every day, I succumb to that woman's tyranny and live a dark life. Every day I live in fear. Sob, quickly come and save me from this sea of fire. I'll rush over now." Sima Yue couldn't stand his clamor and cut off the connection. She said to Sima Lu Xian, "Father and Lei, I'm going to set up a teleportation array. You guys go back to the spirit pagoda first." Because the distance was rather far, she had to set up a delicate array. The fewer people there were, the better. Sima Lu Xian and Enlei didn't have any objections. But before entering the spirit pagoda, Sima Lu Xian reminded her that if there was anything, she must let him out. Sima Yue kept Sima Lu Xian in the spirit pagoda and turned a deaf ear to his last words. Her father was not normal recently. The way he looked at her was a little crazy. Oh, it was better not to let him out. She followed Third Mo's instructions and took out the map of the 20 states. She roughly calculated the spatial coordinates and started to set up the teleportation array. After reaching the inner region, she rarely set up teleportation arrays. Because the inner region was too big, long-distance teleportation arrays used up too much resources. Even so, she changed teleportation arrays twice and spent a few days before she reached the place that Third Mo mentioned. When she reached here, her connection with Little Roar became stronger. Little Roar was in Shiminli's arms gnawing on a spirit fruit. Shiminli and Siyu were sunbathing and chatting. Suddenly, he threw the core of the fruit away and jumped on Shiminli. He said, Yu is here, Yu is here." "She's here?" "No, but I can feel that she's nearby. She should be able to find us soon." Little Roar said happily. After being suppressed in this place for almost a month, he was about to become moldy. Siyu suddenly grabbed him and said, Be quiet, someone's here. There's a new aura. It seems like the person behind this has appeared. This book came from Chapter 17-18. Hearing that the mastermind was here, Shimonli was a little nervous. This meant that there were enough people and these people were going to take the next step. He didn't know if there would be any changes. Don't worry, nothing will happen. See you comforted. Yes. Shimonli tried her best to calm herself down, but when she saw who it was, her body trembled uncontrollably. Her eyes were filled with hatred and anger. Siyu saw that she seemed to have changed into a different person all of a sudden and looked curiously at the entrance of the courtyard. Other than those men, there was only a woman in white that he had never seen before. Do you know the woman in mourning? She asked. Shimonli clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. Yes. I would recognize her even if she turned into ashes. Oh, look at you. You must have a deep grudge against her. Siyu turned into a curious baby. Come tell me, what grudge do you have with her? Look at her fake pure and holy appearance. Did she steal your sweetheart? Shimonli glanced at her and said, she wiped out my entire clan. Siyu's brain short-circuited for a second before she regained her senses and said, really? This was a deeper hatred than stealing someone's sweetheart. How did she wipe out your entire family? Do you want me to avenge you? Shimonli turned around and returned to the house before Zongjing Mingyue noticed her. Now that Do Ball wasn't awake and her poison wasn't cured, she couldn't confront Zongjing Mingyue directly. Zongjing Mingyu felt a hateful gaze. She turned around and saw an unfamiliar Siyu in a back view. Looking at his back, a trace of doubt flashed across her eyes. Let's check the goods. Zongjing Mingyue took a look at some women and found that they were all pretty good. Saintess, these women were chosen according to your request. The man at the side said, a total of 888 people. Zongjing Mingyue nodded, you did well this time. The higher-ups will definitely reward you. With that, she took out a jade bottle and threw it to him. The man opened the jade bottle and looked at the things inside. He put it away with satisfaction and then asked, Holy Maiden, are you going to send it to the same place as last time? Yes. Zongjing Mingyue nodded. It's not the first time. I don't need to repeat the precautions, right? No need, no need. This subordinate remembers it. The man said eagerly. That's good. If you make even the slightest mistake, you'll lose your lives. Zongjing Mingyue returned to the courtyard and prepared to leave. Thinking of the back view she saw previously, she changed her path and walked towards Shimonli's room. Although Shimonli returned to her room, she had been paying attention to the situation outside. Seeing that Zongjing Mingyue was about to leave, she didn't even have time to heave a sigh of relief when she heard footsteps getting closer and closer. Her heart beat faster and faster along with the footsteps. The door opened and she turned around in shock. Zongjing Mingyue saw her and smiled proudly. It's really you, Shimonli. After being discovered by her, Shimonli's nervous heart calmed down. Zongjing Mingyue. Holy Maiden, do you know her? The man followed her and asked cautiously. Could it be that he had captured the Saintess's friend? Please don't be like this. Zongjing Mingyu smiled and said, I know her. Shimon clan's young miss, my best friend's little sister. How could I not know her? The man thought to himself, oh no, could it be, Zongjing Mingyue, you killed my entire family? You don't deserve to be my sister's friend. We won't rest until one of us is dead. Shimonli knew that the conflict between them was irreconcilable and didn't intend to compromise. That's right. Your sister and brother brought people to exterminate my Zongjing clan. We won't rest until one of us is dead. However, the outcome will only be your death. The man secretly heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. It's good that they weren't friends. It's good that they weren't friends. Then, Holy Maiden, how do we deal with this woman? Do we still have to send her over? Send? Of course we have to send her over. But let me lure Sima Yue over first. Doesn't she care about her family the most? I will kill everyone she cares about one by one in front of her. I want her to fall into that despair again. Zongjing Mingyue sneered. You want to fight with my sister? You're not worthy. You can only live under my sister for the rest of your life. You'll live in her shadow for the rest of your life. Don't ever think of surpassing her. Slap. Zongjing Mingyue slapped Shimonli's face. Her face instantly turned red and swollen. The corner of her mouth split open and blood flowed out. Siyu, who was outside the door, ran in and helped Shimonli up. She didn't expect Zongjing Mingyue to suddenly make a move. Because she didn't use spiritual energy, when she reacted, Shimonli had already been slapped. How are you? Are you all right? She said apologetically. She even said she would protect her. Now she got slapped. Sister, see you, I'm fine. Shimin Li wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. She looked at Zongjing Mingyue and continued, what's the use of hitting me? Do you think that by hitting me you can change this fact? No matter if it's in the past or now, no matter if it's strength or luck, you can't compare to my sister. Zongjing Mingyue was agitated by her words. She reached out to slap her again, but her hand was stopped in mid-air. You dare to bully Li, or even though I'm here. Do you think I'm dead? Siyu grabbed her arm and didn't let her get close to Shimin Li. Zongjing Mingyue immediately felt that something was wrong with Siyu. She used her other hand to condense spiritual energy to attack. Siyu casually blocked it and released her right hand at the same time. A slap landed on Zongjing Mingyue's face. She used spiritual energy in this slap and sent Zongjing Mingyue flying. Zongjing Mingyue adjusted her body before she landed so that she didn't fall flat on her back. You're so thick-skinned. My hand hurts from this slap. Siyu blew on her palm as if it really hurt from the slap. Zongjing Mingyue looked at Siyu and said, your spiritual energy isn't sealed. TSK, you want to seal sister's spiritual energy with that kind of poison of yours? Siyu said in disdain. Zongjing Mingyue glared at the man. Someone didn't even know that her spiritual energy wasn't sealed. How did they do their job? Saintus, please calm down. This person didn't use her spiritual energy after coming in. We didn't know that she wasn't sealed. The man explained. She wasn't sealed but stayed here for so long. Who are you? What's your motive? Although Zongjing Mingyue was angry, she didn't take her seriously. She was just a person whose spiritual energy wasn't sealed. There were so many guards here. What could she do? Capture her. She waved her hand and the man attacked her. In the end, he was sent flying by Siyu's slap. The commotion here immediately attracted the attention of those outside. Those guards immediately ran over and surrounded Siyu and Shimin Li, who walked out. This book came from Chapter 17-19. Zongjing Mingyue also came out of the house and ordered the guards in the courtyard, capture them all as long as they are still breathing. She said this because she didn't care if they were injured or crippled. Siyu stuffed Little Roar into Shimin Li's arms. Can you ensure her safety? Little Roar nodded his head. His barrier could hold on for a period of time but not for too long. Go. The man who was sent flying by Siyu's slap waved his hand and the guards all attacked. Siyu took out a long black whip and wrapped it around a person's neck. With a forceful pull, that person's head was separated from his body. Little Roar covered his eyes and roared, "Woman, can you not be so cruel? Who cares if it's cruel or not?" Siyu's whip kept flying, one whip after another, causing those guards to be sent flying before they could even complete their spirit techniques. Shimin Li also felt that Siyu was a little cruel, but thinking about the current situation, she still chose to shut up and covered Little Roar's mouth. Dark spiritual force, you're a dark soul master. The guard cried out in alarm. No wonder her fighting strength was so fierce. You guys go. The guard called for a few more men to go up. These men were much stronger than Siyu, and with a few of them against one person, she gradually found it strenuous. Where did Third Mo go? She muttered in her heart. If this continued, she wouldn't be able to deal with him. Just as she was about to call for reinforcements, a guard finally ran in from outside. When he saw Siyu being surrounded, especially when he saw that she had been hit by spirit energy, his heart tightened. He quickly ran to her side and condensed his spirit energy to attack those people. How are you? He stood beside her, blocking all the attacks. Why are you only here now? If you were any later, you would only be able to see my corpse. Siyu pouted. I'm going to get the antidote. Third Mo threw the antidote to Shimin Li, ignoring her grievance, and started fighting with those people again. Siyu knew that now wasn't the time to throw a tantrum, so she got up from the ground and joined the battle. Now that Third Mo was here, she couldn't call her men over. Otherwise, Third Mo would definitely fall out with her. Shimin Li swallowed the antidote and could feel the sluggish spiritual power in her body slowly regaining control. Her body also felt much more comfortable. When her spiritual power recovered, she joined the battle. However, she was still young and did not have Sima Yuyue's experience. Even with the reverse nurturing of Little Doe, she could not compete with the strength of these people who were older. It was a good thing that she had Little Roar on her. Little Roar had an unparalleled innate talent for enchantments. He used enchantments to block a lot of attacks for her, preventing her from suffering too many injuries. Zongjing Mingyue had been watching from the side since the start of the battle. When he saw that Shimin Li's spirit power was almost depleted, he retracted the protective layer and attacked Shimin Li. Wah, you woman, it's fine if you're ugly, but your character is so bad. You're so scheming you actually launched a sneak attack. Little Roar felt the danger and reinforced the barrier in time, allowing Shimin Li to escape the fate of being heavily injured. She turned around and confronted Zongjing Mingyue. Little Roar, you're wrong. Sneak attacks are not her style. Other than sneak attacks, she can't do anything else. Shimin Li said to Little Roar. Her words were full of sarcasm. You're the same as your sister. You only know how to talk. When I catch you, you'll understand. This is completely useless. After Zongjing Mingyue finished speaking, her hands quickly formed a seal. Spiritual power quickly gathered in between her hands. Shimin Li could feel the terror of that spiritual power. I didn't think that in just a few decades, her strength would actually increase so much. She was shocked and kept calling Little Doe. If it didn't attack, she would probably die here today. Little Roar was anxious and urged, hurry and wake that guy up. I don't think I can take it anymore. Shimin Li was anxious too, but that guy was unreliable. He wouldn't wake up until the last moment of his life. What to do? What to do? Third Mo and Cu also saw the situation here, but they were trapped and couldn't escape. Everyone's thoughts turned, but only a few breaths of time had passed. No matter if Cu had any other trump cards, she wouldn't be able to complete it in such a short period of time. When he saw the white light that Zongjing Mingyue sent over, Little Roar thought that he was done for. If he didn't die today, he wouldn't be able to keep his beautiful fur. Thinking that it was going to be disfigured, it covered its eyes as if it was trying to deceive itself. In a daze, he seemed to hear you use familiar scolding voice, so embarrassing. He opened his eyes. He was still in his own spirit barrier. His spirit barrier wasn't broken and he and Shimin Li weren't injured. And in front of them, stood the figure that they had been yearning for day and night. You're finally here. He excitedly flew to Sima Yue. He was so emotional that tears and snot were all over his face. So embarrassing. Sima Yue picked him up in disdain. Why don't you do that action again? This baby is scared. Little Roar didn't care how much Sima Yue disliked him. He waved his little limbs in the air. It was the same familiar action, the same familiar feeling. Zongjing Mingyue didn't think that Sima Yue would appear at this time. Although this was the first time they met, they weren't strangers. Ever since the Zongjing clan was destroyed, Sima Yue's appearance was deeply imprinted in her mind. I haven't gone to find you, but you're here. Zongjing Mingyue spoke as if it was many years ago. I didn't think that we would meet again under such circumstances. Sima Yue threw Little Roar into Shimin Li's arms and confronted Zongjing Mingyue. As for the others, when Sima Yue arrived, they all stopped. Third Mo and Cu returned to her side at the same time. I didn't think that you would actually survive. Zongjing Mingyue said, the soul refining lamp is useless to you. You're really blessed by the heavens. I always felt that things weren't perfect. Even though the Zongjing clan and Huayang Palace were destroyed, there was still you. Sima Yue said. Today is the time for us to settle our differences. I let you escape last time, but I don't believe that you can be reborn again this time. Today it's time to end everything. Sima Yue opened up her little realm and let the Sima family's guards come out to deal with the others. She then fought with Zongjing Mingyue. Zongjing Mingyue quickly used her spirit technique. It was a huge white bird. It was different from the usual birds formed by spirit energy. This bird looked more real and holy, making people want to worship it. You're really good at acting. Sima Yue snorted. She didn't use any spirit energy. Instead, she jumped up and went up personally, punching the huge bird. Holy big bird? Let's see how you're going to act. Chapter 1720. Sima Yue had used up all of her strength in this punch. Everyone could feel that her fist was filled with boundless power, as if it could destroy the heavens and earth. When the fist collided with the white bird formed by spiritual energy, there was no sound, but everyone saw the white bird crack and dissipate. How is this possible? I've added the power of faith to it, so how could you possibly defeat me? Zongjing Hanyu thought that this was her ultimate move that could definitely deal with Sima Yue, but she didn't expect that it couldn't even withstand one move. Do you think you're the only one with the power of faith? Sima Yue blew on her fist. Although I don't know what method you used to improve your strength so quickly, your power of faith was cultivated using a secret method. It's not pure power of faith. Compared to mine, you're far inferior. How is that possible? How can you have the power of faith? Zongjing Hanyu couldn't believe it, her expression turned sinister. Why not? Isn't it just this? Sima Yu released her power of faith and for a moment she became holy. Zhong Hanyu was stunned and kept muttering that it was impossible. Sima Yu's power of faith was so pure and holy. Compared to her, his power of faith was like the difference between the real thing and the fake. Sima Yu smiled when she saw Zhong Hanyu's defeated look. She had liked to compare herself with her since she was young. One of the reasons why she had hurt her was because she was inferior to her in every aspect and was jealous of her. Now she was going to crush her pride bit by bit. First, she was going to defeat her mentally so that she would forever be beneath her. Yue, don't kill her for now, Third Mo suddenly said. Although Sima Yue did not know why Third Mo was pleading with her, she still nodded because she trusted him. Zhong Hanyu was indeed the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion. Her will was much firmer than others. Although this was a huge blow to her, she quickly regained her senses. We still don't know who will win or lose. She shouted loudly and condensed her fire attribute spirit energy, turning it into a large red bird. Sima Yu chuckled lightly and directly condensed a large flaming sword, splitting her large bird into two. Zhong Hanyu saw that her spirit technique was so easily broken by Sima Yue, so she congealed water attribute spirit energy and a water pillar fell from the sky towards Sima Yue's flaming blade. However, Sima Yue took the initiative to disperse the flaming blade and congealed a water whip to wrap around Zhong Hanyu's waist. Just when Zhong Hanyu was surprised that Sima Yue had these attributes, she saw Sima Yue suddenly smile. Seeing that smile, she panicked. Based on her understanding of Sima Yue, every time she smiled like that, it meant that she was going to win. Sure enough, she held the water whip in one hand and condensed lightning attribute spiritual energy in the other. Then, there was no then. When Zhong Hanyu fell to the ground, she still didn't understand why she was defeated so easily. Where was the huge battle she had envisioned? Where was the countless times she had envisioned torturing Sima Yue? How did the ending turn out like this? In front of her, she didn't even have the strength to fight back. Clearly she still had so many spirit techniques that she hadn't used. Clearly she still had so many tricks up her sleeves. How could she be defeated so easily? Sima Yue landed beside her and saw her staring at her innocent-looking eyes. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. You're not satisfied, right? Zhong Hanyu moved her eyes with difficulty, trying to see her face clearly. Actually, there's nothing to be unhappy about. You thought you could defeat me last time, so you can do it again this time? Sima Yue guessed her thoughts. Last time I was killed because you used my trust in you and took advantage of the loophole. But it's different this time. You don't have my trust and you don't understand me. But I know your attributes, I know your strength, I know what you've learned. I know what you've done on a particular day and I know when you're in closed-door cultivation. Zhong Hanyu's eyes widened. She thought it was impossible, but Sima Yue didn't look like that at all. She was very sure that she really knew. You think it's impossible? Sima Yue squatted down. You chose to be above others, so you should know that your actions are no longer a secret. As long as I have the heart, what can't I do? I just need to find a few people to bribe them and they'll know everything about you. How? You think that I'll end my revenge after destroying the Zhong clan? I haven't killed you yet, how can I let my guard down? Know your enemy, I know how to do that too. At this time, Third Mo and Siyu walked over. Sima Yue stood up and asked, Shameless Third, why do you want to keep her? You know what I'm thinking. We found something wrong recently so we kept her. Maybe we can find something. Third Mo said. What's the matter? Sima Yue asked. Black-robed men. Sima Yue took a deep breath. You suspect that it's related to the Sage Pavilion? I didn't think of it before, but it shouldn't be a coincidence that these girls were captured here. The black-robed men appeared nearby recently, and this girl is involved in this matter. I'm just guessing, I don't have any evidence. Third Mo said. Sima Yue was silent for a while. If that's the case, we really can't kill her. Since she's the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion, and she's behind the kidnapping of girls, she might know something. I'll see if I can find anything useful. Zhong Hanyu was heavily injured and was attacked by Sima Yue, so she was mentally weak. Sima Yue quickly found a lot of useful information from her sea of consciousness. How is it? Siyu asked. Sima Yue sighed and said unwillingly, seems like we can't kill her for now. Is the black-robed men's matter caused by the Sage Pavilion? I'm not sure if she knows, but she knows that the black-robed men are related to the Sage Pavilion. These girls were prepared for the black-robed men. Sima Yue continued, but she didn't contact them directly. You want to keep her, do you have a plan? Third Mo asked. You know me best. Sima Yue took out a pill and stuffed it into Zhong Zhenghan Yu's mouth to save her life, then continued, she came this time to talk to the black-robed men. As long as we pretend to be her, we can meet the black-robed men. We might be able to find out something then. If she died, her life jade would shatter and the people of the Sage Pavilion would know. Then this plan won't work. Then we'll let her live for 2 more days. Shimin Li was unwilling. What about those girls? Siyu pointed at the group of girls who came out of the room to watch the show. Chapter 1721. When the women saw Sima Yue and the others, they huddled together in fear. Sima Yue glanced at them with a headache. If she let these people go now, the news would spread. At that time there would be a change in her plan. However, it wouldn't be good to lock them up here. What a headache. Sister, they're all poisoned. Shimin Li said, we can use this as an excuse to let them stay here for a while. We need to give them the antidote so they can't leave for the time being. That's a good idea, Sima Yue said. Let's set up another barrier here so that we can't leave before the poison is removed. When I'm done, I can give them the antidote. By the way, the antidote shouldn't be too difficult, right? Shimin Li took out the jade bottle and passed it to her. This is the antidote jade bottle that third brother gave me. Sima Yue took it and sniffed it. Although the antidote was gone, the smell was still there. The antidote is not difficult. I sort of guessed it. I'll check on them later and we'll be able to determine the composition of the antidote. She said confidently, now you can go over and have a look with them. You're not going? Siyu asked. I want to deal with this person. Sima Yue picked up the person on the ground and brought her to a random room. After setting up a barrier, she brought Zhong Zhenghan Yu into the spirit pagoda. When she came out again, she would be alone. As for Zhong Zhenghan Yu, before she needed her identity, she would stay properly in the spirit pagoda. As for how the beasts inside would treat her, that was their business. However, based on their love and care for Sima Yue, one could imagine Zhong Zhenghan Yu's days. Sima Yue left the room. Shimin Li had already finished talking to those girls. Thank you for saving us. The girls stepped forward and looked at her with gratitude and adoration. You're welcome. Let me check your body. I want to confirm the poison in your body so that I can develop the antidote, Sima Yue said with a smile. Let me do it, said the woman who had spoken earlier. Then come with me. Sima Yue returned to the house and asked the woman to sit on the chair and stretch out her hand. She sat beside her and checked her pulse. After about a minute, she took her hand back. This poison is a little troublesome. It might take a few days. Just wait here for a few days. Once the antidote is developed, I'll have someone send it over immediately. Are you leaving? The woman asked. We have other things to do. But it won't affect the detoxification. But don't worry, we'll leave 2 people to take care of you. We'll also create a barrier for you so that others won't be able to enter. Once you recover your spiritual energy, you can leave. Thank you. The woman thanked him again and left. Siyu came in from outside and leaned against the door asking, who do you want to keep? Lear is too young. Those things are not suitable for her. Sima Yue said, besides, she has been locked up here before, so they will trust her more easily. Will she agree? I will. I'm the older sister. Sima Yue changed the topic after saying this. She looked at Third Mo and asked, why are you still in the human realm? You didn't go back after leaving last time? Hee hee. Siyu smiled and didn't answer. You've been by his side all these years? Sima Yue was shocked. She felt that it was unbelievable. At first he didn't let me follow him. But you know that I won't change my mind once I've decided on something. Even if he ignores me or chases me away, he can't do anything to me even if I don't leave. Siyu said proudly. That's a good point. Sima Yue looked at her meaningfully. Although she didn't completely get Third Mo from the fact that he came to save her, she was at least someone important to him. This was a huge improvement. I know that there's someone in his heart, but I don't care. I don't ask him to forget that person. I just want to live in his heart. Looking at it now, the results are not bad. I'm very satisfied. I believe that I'll be able to get him in the end. Siyu's eyes shone with hope and happiness. Good luck. Sima Yue waved her fist at her. She and Third Mo had known each other for so many years and knew that there was someone in his heart. Moreover, it wasn't a beautiful memory. Third Mo's personality was weird and stubborn. If she wanted to conquer him completely, it would depend on Siyu's ability. When are you leaving? Do you want me to go with you? Siyu didn't want to talk too much about Third Mo, so she asked. Sima Yue shook her head. The people there are very cautious. Other than the people they contacted, they won't meet anyone. If you guys go with me, you'll alert them. I'll go alone. Then when are you leaving? At night, not far from the agreed location. Weren't you guys investigating the black-robed men? You guys go and check on them. We'll exchange information then. Sima Yue said. Okay. Be careful. Siyu wasn't worried about her. Instead of worrying about this fellow, why not find something else to do? That wouldn't waste time. That afternoon, Sima Yue went to the spirit pagoda to refine the antidote and gave it to Shiminli. She told her to give it to those people after 10 days. 10 days later was the time to hand it over. If there wasn't anyone by then, those black-robed men would find out. And the time she was going to meet those people was before that. But when she disguised herself as Zhongjing Hanyu and arrived at the agreed location, those black-robed men didn't come. After waiting for 2 days, she had no choice but to return to the courtyard. Sister? Shiminli was surprised to see Sima Yue back. How's the matter? Sima Yue shook her head. Give them the antidote and let them leave. Soon, Siyu and Third Mo received the news and came back. What happened? Something happened over there. The black-robed men didn't come. Sima Yue said. How did this happen? Did they know what happened here? Third Mo and Siyu were surprised. Zhongjing Hanyu went to meet those people because she had something to tell them. But they didn't see anyone now. This was strange. I don't know about this. Zhongjing Hanyu didn't receive any news at all. So I plan to go to the Sage Pavilion to take a look. Sima Yue told her plan. You want to go to the Sage Pavilion? After Shiminli sent all the girls away, she heard this and disagreed. Sister, do you know that because of one sentence from the Sage Pavilion, you had no choice but to disguise as a man for the past few decades? If you go to the Sage Pavilion now, aren't you sending yourself to the tiger's den? Chapter 1722. A lamb walking into a tiger's den? What's going on? Siyu didn't know why Sima Yue wanted to dress up as a man. She used to think that she liked it. Actually, it's nothing. Sima Yue didn't care. I went in as Zhongjing Hanyu this time. How could they find out my identity so easily? She had Zhongjing Hanyu's appearance, her aura, and her memories. It wasn't easy for ordinary people to find out that something was wrong with her. But Shiminli was still worried. In her heart, the Sage Pavilion was a very terrifying power. She had come out to travel this time and knew the power of a few powers. She had an instinctive fear towards the Sage Pavilion. You guys still haven't told me what's going on. Siyu was confused by them. Sima Yue explained the reason why she had disguised herself as a man. It was because the Sage Pavilion had announced that any female spirit master would be killed without mercy. If she went to the Sage Pavilion and the Sage Pavilion found out that she was a complete spirit master, no one knew what kind of situation she would face. Shiminli thought that Siyu would persuade Sima Yue after knowing the reason, but she didn't expect Siyu to not be worried at all. Instead, she persuaded her, what's there to worry about? With your sister's ability, even if she was discovered, they would still be the ones to suffer. If your sister doesn't turn them upside down, they'll be thanking the heavens and earth. Shiminli looked at Siyu speechlessly. She shouldn't have told her. In the end, she couldn't stop Sima Yue even though she knew that she couldn't. Not only that, but Sima Yue also asked Third Mo and the rest to send her back to Paramount Valley, ending her training early. The reason was that she was disobedient and threw off her guards. As for whether she still needed to come out to gain experience, that would depend on whether she could pass Shiminfeng's test. Shiminli was very unwilling, but she didn't dare to refute Sima Yue because she was indeed in the wrong. Moreover, she didn't have the guts to suggest that she go back. Only when she came to the inner region did she realize how weak she was. She wasn't even worth mentioning. It was a coincidence that Third Mo and the rest were investigating the men in black. With Sima Yue's request, they agreed to bring Shiminli back to Paramount Valley. Before leaving, Siyu patted Sima Yue's shoulder and said, well, I know you probably won't need it, but if you need it, just contact me. You know that I have a secret technique. I can come here very quickly. If there's a need, I won't hesitate to ask for your help, Sima Yue replied with a smile. Siyu saw her smile and suddenly felt weird, but she couldn't blame her, so she suppressed that feeling and left with Shiminli. Sima Yue smiled when she saw Siyu's expression before she left. His gaze was so reluctant as if something was really going to happen to him. There's a price to pay for what you gain, but sometimes death isn't the end, it's the beginning. Yin Lin's words suddenly rang in her mind again, and the smile on her face slowly disappeared. Was her calamity about to come? She still believed in Yin Lin's words, so she knew that she was going to face a calamity. The dark and light attributes were getting harder and harder to balance, and the power of faith was getting harder and harder to suppress. She could feel that her body was reaching its limit. Perhaps not long later she would really face a calamity. No wonder she felt so flustered recently. Mother hasn't been rescued yet. I don't want to face a calamity so early. She touched her chest. She couldn't die. If she died, her soul wouldn't have any memories in the ghost realm. She wouldn't remember her family and friends, and she wouldn't remember that she was going to save her mother. So many years of cultivation would be wasted. So she had to go to the ghost realm alive. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened her eyes again, she had calmed down. She decided that once she found out about the Sage Pavilion, she would go into seclusion to cultivate. Because she was disguised as Zhongzheng Hanyu, she couldn't call out her spirit beasts, so she could only rush to the Sage Pavilion's branch. The Sage Pavilion's flashy palace was built in the outskirts of the city. Sima Yue saw the palace and curled her lips. The Sage Pavilion's palace was so luxurious, who knew how much of the people's wealth was taken from them. The two guards at the door saw Sima Yue and quickly bowed. Greetings to Holy Daughter. Sima Yue looked at Zhongzheng Hanyu and nodded coldly. Where's your palace master? He's meeting a guest in the main hall. The guard replied. What guest? He actually wants her to meet him personally. Didn't he know that I was coming? Sima Yue said with a sullen face. Holy Daughter, please calm down. A hearty laugh came from inside. A lady wearing the Sage Pavilion's palace master uniform came out and smiled at Sima Yue. Of course I know that Holy Daughter is coming. I was delayed by something just now. I hope Holy Daughter won't take offense. Is Palace Master Gu meeting an important guest? Sima Yue's face didn't look good, as if she wouldn't give up if you didn't explain yourself. It's the clan master of an aristocratic family. He didn't know that Holy Daughter would come at this time and came to report the situation to me. Gu Qing said. The clan master of an aristocratic family had a lot of weight. Sima Yue's expression softened. I wonder if you're done talking? I have something to talk to you about. Sima Yue said. Is it about the Sacred City Assembly? Gu Qing asked. Sacred City Assembly? Why, Holy Daughter doesn't know. I came out to settle some matters and haven't contacted the sect for a while. Sima Yue said. Why is the Sacred City Assembly suddenly called? Holy Daughter, please come in, we're on our way. Sima Yue walked in front, thinking about what the Sage Pavilion was up to. This sacred city was different from the one in the Yilin continent. This sacred city was the Sage Pavilion's old nest, and they thought that they were very holy, so they named it Sacred City. Zhongzheng Hanyu didn't hear about the Sacred City Assembly before she left. Why did she suddenly want to call for it now? After Gu Qing told her about the Sacred City Assembly, her expression didn't change, but her heart was in turmoil. Because the Sacred City Assembly wasn't called to deal with the current chaotic situation, but to unite the various powers to deal with the ancient spirit beasts that were rising rapidly in recent years. They were preparing to send invitations to thousands of clans, covering all the first-class powers in the inner regions. If they succeeded, the ancient spirit beasts would face an unprecedented situation. She didn't know if Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior had received the news, but she had to think of a way to inform him, or else she would be caught off guard. Chapter 1723. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, I didn't expect such a big thing to happen when I came out to settle things. We all know that the Saintess is dealing with confidential matters and rarely communicates with the outside world. The delay in news is only temporary. Zhongzheng Hanyu's current position in the Sage Pavilion was very special, so even if she was the pavilion master of the Sage Pavilion, Gu Qing was very polite to her. Recently, those ancient spirit beasts have indeed been very rampant. They have killed many humans and snatched many resources. If we can get rid of them, it would be a great blessing for the human race. Sima Yue said, however, if those ancient spiritual beasts get the news, they won't let things continue, right? If the ancient spiritual beasts find out that we want to join forces with other forces to deal with them, I'm afraid they will come out to stop us. Sima Yue said. So we have to find a reasonable reason to cover it up. Gu Qing said, there's more than one big thing now, right? Sima Yue pondered for a moment. There were only 2 or 3 things that could be done to gather all the forces together without alerting the ancient spiritual beasts. Could it be the Heaven Splitter Devil Sword? She guessed. Lord Holy Maiden is truly worthy of being the Pavilion Master's favorite person right now. It's the Devil Sword murdering heaven. Gu Qing said, these few years the Devil Sword murdering heaven has appeared from time to time, causing many massacres. Furthermore, it has become more and more demonic over the years and has become an important factor that threatens the safety of mankind. With this as an excuse, even if the ancient spirit beasts discover our actions, they will think that we are discussing the matter of the devil's sword. Not bad, Sima Yue praised. These are all good ideas that Lord Holy Sun came up with. When Gu Qing mentioned Lord Holy Sun, she had a proud look on her face. Alright, let's get down to business. Sima Yue looked at the people in the room and signaled Gu Qing to let them out. Gu Qing understood tacitly and said to the others in the room, "You can all go down, you don't need to serve me for the time being." "Yes, Pavilion Master." When all the servant girls left, Sima Yue said, "Do you know about the fox hunting plan? I've heard of this name before, but I've never come into contact with it. Is this related to the purpose of this visit?" Gu Qing asked. "Yes." Sima Yue nodded. "I shouldn't have told you this, but the situation is urgent, so I can only ask you to do it. Saintess, what exactly is this fox hunting plan?" Gu Qing asked when she saw Sima Yue's serious expression. "Well," Sima Yue hesitated. She was not willing to tell her. "Saintess, if you don't tell me, I won't be able to give orders to my subordinates. If you make a mistake, it's fine for us, but how are you going to explain it to the sect? If you're afraid that your subordinates will find out, you can rest assured. I'll only instruct my subordinates to do the job and won't tell them the reason." Gu Qing had always been curious about the fox hunting plan, but since she was not involved, she had no way of knowing the inside story. She only knew that it was a big deal. Now that she finally had the chance, how could she let it go? If she handled it well, she might even be rewarded by the sect. This. Sima Yue furrowed her brows and hesitated for a moment. Then, as if she had made up her mind, she sighed and said, "You're right, this matter, it's just that once you know about it, you must not tell anyone, understand?" "Saintess, don't worry. I won't tell anyone. If you're worried, I can make an oath." Gu Qing was very sincere. "There's no need to make an oath." Sima Yue stopped her. "One of the reasons why I was hesitating was because I was afraid that you would be involved in this matter." "Saintess, please tell me." "Actually, this fox hunting plan is to select women from all over the mainland and bring them here to be given to others," Sima Yue said vaguely. Gu Qing's heart was in suspense. "Those women aren't willing, right?" Gu Qing asked. "Who would be willing to be a human cauldron? That's why this plan is carried out secretly," Sima Yue said calmly. She didn't care about the outcome of those women at all. Gu Qing was a little surprised. She didn't expect the fox hunting plan to be like this. It seemed like it wasn't a good thing. "Who were those women sent to?" she asked. "I don't know. But according to what I know, they should have been given to those black-robed men," Sima Yue said. "What?" Gu Qing exclaimed. "How could this be with the black-robed men?" She saw that Sima Yue didn't look like she was joking. She swallowed her words. In the sect, nothing was impossible. Sima Yue waited for her to digest the news before continuing. "We've sent many people over a few years ago. Originally we should send them over now, but something happened." "What happened?" "They're gone." "They're gone?" "Yeah, those selected women were all rescued by someone." Sima Yue said, "Now no one is going to deliver the goods. The people who were supposed to meet didn't come to see me either. I don't know what's going on now. Since they're gone, we'll catch more to replace them," Gu Qing said. "No way. Those women were selected after a careful selection process. Ordinary women don't even meet the requirements," Sima Yue said. "What does the Saintess want us to do? Are we going to capture those people?" Gu Qing asked. "I had some matters to attend to and was delayed on my way here. When I got there, it was already empty. I don't know how long ago it was. If we catch them now, we don't know who they are. Then what should we do? We can only leave it at that for now. I'll go back and report to the Pavilion Master and see what to say." Sima Yue said, "What you need to do now is to find out who's behind this. Once you find them, kill them without mercy. I don't know if those people who were rescued know the inside story, so you definitely can't let them spread the news. Do you understand?" "I understand," Gu Qing replied. At the same time, she heaved a sigh of relief. If it was just to kill those people, it would be much easier. Furthermore, she wouldn't have to take responsibility for this matter. Sima Yue then told her where those women were kept. Then she said, "This matter must be carried out secretly. If others know that the fox hunting plan is related to the Sage Pavilion or the black-robed men, then the consequences." "I understand. I'll be careful," Gu Qing promised. "I believe in Pavilion Master Gu's ability." Sima Yue said, I still have to return to the sect and personally report this matter to the sect master. I won't delay any longer. Gu Qing brought her to the teleportation array. Only those with status in the Sage Pavilion could use it. Sima Yue used the teleportation array to go directly to the sacred city. Chapter 1724. Sacred City. The entire city was built like a palace, and it was a white palace. Sima Yue's first impression was that it was pretentious. Zongjing Hanyu's appearance was very useful here. Those who saw her had to bow to her. All she had to do was smile and nod at them. Saintess, you've finally returned. A maid ran over. Sima Yue recognized that this was one of her personal maidservants, Gu Shi. She had left Gu Shi behind in Sacred City when Sima Yue went on a secret mission. What's the matter? She imitated Zongjing Hanyu's tone and spoke coldly. This servant tried to contact you before, but I couldn't. I thought something had happened to you. Gu Shi said worriedly. Sima Yue paused and glanced at her. You know that I'm on a secret mission, so it's not convenient for me to contact you. What's there to be surprised about? This servant knows her mistake. Gu Shi lowered her head and said, Yes. Let's talk when we get back, Sima Yue said and turned to leave. Oh, isn't this our new saintess? Why are you in such a hurry to come back? Do you miss our pavilion master? A strange voice came from the side. Sima Yue turned around and saw a woman in a white dress with peach blossoms embroidered on the hem. She was surrounded by a group of people. She searched through Zongjing Hanyu's memories and quickly found out about this person's identity and the conflict between her and Zongjing Hanyu. Tao Shui, one of the girls who competed for Saintess with Zongjing Hanyu last time. She had a high chance of winning, so much so that she called herself a Saintess. Who would have thought that the final Saintess would be Zongjing Hanyu? Although he was kept in the general pavilion in the end, he had always been against Zongjing Hanyu. Moreover, she always thought that Zongjing Hanyu could become the Saintess because she had an ambiguous relationship with the pavilion master, so she always looked for opportunities to run on Zongjing Hanyu. If it was Zongjing Hanyu herself, she might have argued with Tao Shui. But at this time, Sima Yu was a fake. She had no interest in the intrigue between these women, so she just glanced at Tao Shui. She didn't even say a word before she turned and left. Did this woman have a sex change today? He actually left without saying a word. Tao Shui looked at Sima Yue's back view in astonishment. She had prepared a long conversation with her. Now she felt like she had punched cotton, which made her feel very uncomfortable. Young miss, why lower yourself to the same level as this kind of person? The maidservant on the side said, wait until her reputation is ruined at this grand meeting. Let's see if she can still be arrogant in the future. This kind of person who doesn't have a family backing her up, once she's rejected by the sect, she's nothing. Only then was Tao Shui happy. She praised, you're right. Let's just wait and see. When Sima Yue returned to her residence, a group of maidservants rushed out to welcome her. Lady Saintess. Sima Yue glanced at them, thinking that Zongjing Hanyu really knew how to enjoy life. Gu Shi, come with me. The rest of you can leave. Yes, Saintess. Sima Yue brought Gu Shi into the house. She asked, did anything happen in the city recently? It's about the same as when Saintess left. But recently, it seems like many people with higher status have returned. It seems that Holy Sun has returned too. Sima Yue's breath tightened. Holy Sun? Wasn't that Wu Lingyu? He's back? Why didn't she know? She suppressed her restless heart and made herself sound calm. She asked, didn't he not return for a long time? Why would he return at this time? He said that the pavilion master asked him to return. It should be for this meeting. Gu Shi said. Mem, is there anything else? Sima Yue asked. Everything else is about the same as before. There's nothing special. Gu Shi said, oh right, there's one more thing. I heard that Holy Sun brought back a woman. That woman is very liked by the pavilion master. She relied on the relationship between the pavilion master and Holy Sun to be very arrogant in the sect. He brought a woman back? Sima Yue suddenly felt that the blood in her body was surging. There was a primitive force that was about to explode. Yes. Gu Shi saw her face change. Saintess Yu, Sima Yue knew that she overreacted. She didn't deny it. She coughed twice and said, don't tell anyone. Gu Shi immediately understood what she meant. So Saintess liked Holy Sun too. She nodded and said, I won't tell anyone. Sima Yue then asked a few other questions. Gu Shi answered them one by one. Because her tone and understanding of the situation was the same as before, she didn't think that the person in front of her wasn't Zongjing Hanyu. At this time a white paper crane flew in. Zhong Hanyu looked at it and said to Gu Shi, "I'm going to see the pavilion master." She had to face what was to come. She also wanted to ask Wu Lingyu why he didn't contact her when he came back. She went to the huge palace in the city. There weren't many people here. Those who could enter were people with status. She walked into the spacious hall. There was only a middle-aged man sitting on top. That man had ordinary facial features. Because of the holy aura he exuded, it was more comfortable to look at. But after glancing at him, she lowered her eyes and didn't look at him anymore. Hanyu greets pavilion master. Sima Yue followed Zhong Hanyu and bowed. Qiu Qi didn't open his eyes and didn't speak. He let her do that. After a while, he opened his mouth and said, "Hanyu, you didn't handle the matter well this time." Hanyu knows her mistake. "Please punish me, pavilion master." Sima Yue didn't explain. Because there was no point in talking to Qiu Qi. Qiu Qi opened his eyes and said, "That side is very angry. Tell me what happened." "It's like this. After I arrived there, I went to check on the selected girls. After confirming that there were no mistakes, I went to see them according to pavilion master's instructions. But I waited there for 2 days and no one came. When I went back, those girls had already been rescued." Sima Yue said, "Pavilion master, could it be that they did it on purpose? If I had been there, those women wouldn't have been rescued." Qiu Qi stared at her for a while and said, "No, but they must have found something. That's why they gave up on meeting you. You didn't bring that thing to them?" Sima Yue took out a black box. Although she was curious about it, she didn't touch it in order to not arouse suspicion. Qiu Qi waved his hand and the box flew into his hand. After confirming that the box wasn't opened, his expression became better. At this time, a guard's voice came from outside, "Greetings to Holy Son. Pavilion Master is meeting Holy Daughter. You can't enter without orders." Sima Yue said to the guard. The guard looked at her suspiciously but still turned and went in. "Zhong Hanyu wants to see me?" Tang Yun was surprised. He wasn't familiar with Zhong Hanyu. No, to be exact, Zhong Hanyu knew that he didn't like her. She had never come to find him before. Why did she come today? "I don't want to see her. Just say I'm busy." Tang Yun didn't want to see her and rejected her. The guard went out but came back in after a while. "Vice Pavilion Master, Saintess said she missed the time we met outside Fair Eastern City. If you don't see her, you'll be struck by lightning. She said that because you want to see her." Tang Yun was stunned and said to the guard, "Invite her in." The guard went out and quickly brought Sima Yue in. Tang Yun waved his hand and dismissed the people around him. "You've got guts. You dare to sneak in here." He looked at Sima Yue and tried to figure out how she turned into Zhong Hanyu. "I heard that the Sima family spirit technique is fusion. Did you fuse Zhong Hanyu with you?" "I have a contract beast that can transform." Sima Yue found a seat and sat down. "How did you sneak in here?" Tang Yun asked. Sima Yue explained the situation simply and asked, "What's up with that fake Saintess? Where's Lingyu? Is he back?" "How do you know he's fake and not him?" Tang Yun asked. "Although he looks exactly the same as Lingyu and imitates his movements. But as long as I look him in the eye, I know that he's a fake." Sima Yue said. "It's not your original appearance. It's not strange that he can't recognize you." Tang Yun said. "If he's affectionate towards you now, you'll probably flip out again. It's not the way he looks at me but the way he looks at others." Sima Yue said. "Tell me, who is that person? You think I know? If you don't know, who else would know?" Sima Yue looked at him. "Is that person from the Devil Clan too?" "No, but he listens to Lingyu." Tang Yun said. "Do you know that Lingyu has a substitute?" "It's him?" What about him?" "He's still in the devil world." "What's the situation in the devil world now? After so many years, he still can't handle the Devil King?" "The situation in the devil world has always been grim," Tang Yun said. "The Devil King has ruled the devil world for hundreds of thousands of years. You can imagine how powerful they have become from generation to generation. As for Lingyu, even if he still has some descendants following him, to fight against such a powerful figure." Sima Yue didn't need to say the rest. She understood what he meant. She didn't need to guess to know how bad his situation was. "What can I do for him?" She rubbed her eyebrows. She was a little frustrated. "You're fine. That's the best help you can give him," Tang Yun said. "The situation there is very complicated. Don't think about going over." "I know. I'm not powerful enough now. I won't go over and cause trouble for him, Sima Yue said. That's good. Tang Yun knew that she wasn't an irrational person. Speaking of which, when are you leaving? I remember Ling Yu saying that you're investigating the black-robed men? Yes. But after so many years there hasn't been any results. Tang Yun shrugged his shoulders. He was now sure that this matter was definitely related to the Sage Pavilion. I originally planned to come here to investigate the black-robed men. Aren't we going to hold a joint meeting now? Let's wait for this matter to pass before looking at the situation. Sima Yue stood up. I'll leave the black-robed men's matter to you. I think that with this, you should be able to gain something. I'll go back first. If there's anything, I'll contact you again. Chapter 1726. After leaving Tang Yun's palace, Sima Yue was not in a good mood. Wu Lingyu was in such a difficult situation in the Devil Realm, but there was nothing she could do for him. Strength, if only her strength was a little higher. She clenched her hands and breathed deeply to relax herself. Recently she had been thirsting for power too much. Hey, stop right there. A red figure landed in front of her from the beam, blocking her path. Who are you? Sima Yue sized her up. You are the woman that the Holy Sun brought back. How did you know? The woman was a little surprised. Everyone in the Sage Pavilion is dressed in white. At most, they would embroider different embroidery on their clothes. Sima Yue said. You're dressed in red, yet you're still so ostentatious. Who else could it be other than the woman that the saint brought back? Your reaction is really fast. My name is Hongwei. Sima Yue nodded at her and wanted to walk around her. However, Hongwei took a step to the side and continued to block her way. What do you want? Sima Yue looked at the person in front of her with an unfriendly expression. You're so rude. I've already told you who I am. Why don't you tell me your name? Don't you know that politeness demands reciprocity? Hongwei rebuked. Although she knew that the Holy Sun had brought back Wu Lingyu's people, she was in a bad mood and didn't want to pay attention to anyone. She wasn't an unreasonable woman. She glanced at Hongwei and said, Others may spoil you, but you have to know that the world doesn't revolve around you. I'll spare your life today for Wu Lingyu's sake, but I won't let you off so easily next time. She emphasized the words Wu Lingyu. Hongwei should be able to understand that her Wu Lingyu was not this fake Holy Sun. After that, she walked around Hongwei and left without even looking at her. Hongwei was very angry after being threatened. She wanted to stop Sima Yue, but she found that she couldn't move at all. What did you do to me? She was shocked that she didn't notice it at all. It's just a small punishment. You'll be fine after 2 hours. Sima Yue's voice came from behind. She was so angry that she wanted to stomp her feet. Although Tang Yun's palace was not as lively as the other few vice pavilion masters, there were still quite a number of people coming and going. The passers-by saw her standing there motionless and couldn't help but point at her. What are you looking at? If you keep looking, I'll dig your eyes out. She roared at those people. The people in the Sage Pavilion naturally knew of her special identity. After being yelled at by her, they all left obediently. Hongwei waited for 2 hours to pass before she could move her restrained body. She angrily ran into Tang Yun's palace. When she saw Tang Yun leaning on a low couch, the anger in her heart grew. You're just going to watch me get bullied outside? She sat opposite Tang Yun and said angrily. Tang Yun looked up at her. You asked for it. Are you really my brother? I'm your sister. You're just going to watch me get bullied outside. You're saying I asked for it? Hongwei snatched the book from his hand. It's not that I don't want to help you. It's that I can't help you. Tang Yun said. I don't even dare to offend that woman. You still went to find trouble with her when she was in a bad mood. Did you ask for it? You don't even dare to offend her? I'm just a holy maiden. You're still a vice pavilion master, all right? Useless. Hongwei said disdainfully. She's not just any holy maiden. You wanted to come here to play, so I let them bring you in. In order to prevent you from causing trouble for me, I'll give you a warning. In this world, there's a woman that we can't offend. So you can't go find trouble with her. Exposing our identities is a small matter. Being punished by the Lord is a big matter. Tang Yun warned. Tiske, although the Lord is a holy sun, he only has that Sima Yue in his heart, right? He would punish you for a holy maiden. He's not the kind of person who would have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Unless that holy maiden is... Hongwei paused. Her expression turned horrified. She covered her mouth and said, You're saying that she's that woman? Sima Yue? Tang Yun snatched his book back from her hand and gave her a "you're not that stupid" expression. Hong Wei was stunned. She actually offended that woman just now? Wu, she wouldn't be skinned alive and thrown into a smelly ditch, right? Why didn't you remind me earlier? Are you still my brother? She looked at Tang Yun resentfully. Who asked you to find trouble with her without asking me? Tang Yun didn't sympathize with her at all. You're always so brainless. You should learn from your mistakes. I saw that she attracted the Holy Sun's attention, so I was unhappy. Who knew that it would be her? Hong Wei mumbled. Brother, stop reading. Quickly think of a solution for me. I don't want to be thrown into a smelly ditch by the Lord again. Don't worry. Since she's already punished you, she won't bother about it anymore. She's not a petty person. Tang Yun wasn't worried at all. Just don't provoke her in the future. That's it? Are you sure? Hong Wei was still worried. Alright, hurry up and leave. Don't bother me in front of me. Tang Yun waved his hand impatiently and chased her out. Hong Wei came out of the palace and muttered, I have to give it to the Holy Sun. Don't do stupid things like me. When Sima Yue returned to Zhong Zhenghan Yu's place, her emotions had already stabilized. She thought of the fake Holy Sun and felt that this alliance would be established because the conditions given by the Sage Pavilion were too tempting. No, I have to inform them first. If not, when the alliance is established, it will be too late for him to think of a solution. She let Mi Air transform into Zhong Zhenghan Yu's appearance, then she transformed into an inconspicuous servant girl. She quietly left the place and found a safe place. She called out Little Lucky and the ancient spirit beast that was protecting him. Little Lucky, I have something for you, she told Little Lucky about the current situation, then said, I'll think of a way to let you leave this city. Do you have a way to find your father? Little Lucky nodded. After you go out, tell your father this news. Then stay by his side and don't leave, understand? With that, she called Little Roar out. Little Roar will go with you. If there's any news, I'll let you know through him. Little Roar and Little Lucky had a good relationship. Now that the ancient spirit beast was in trouble, he would definitely not shirk his duty. However, it was the only one who knew what it was thinking. Although Little Lucky didn't want to leave her, he was much more mature now and understood the seriousness of the situation. He could only agree. Sima Yue faced the sky. I'll have to trouble you to help me send them out. The guy in the sky hesitated for a moment. Then a spatial tunnel appeared in front of Little Lucky. After Little Lucky and the others entered, it slowly closed. Although there were many experts in the Saint City, no one noticed the change in space. If it was her, she wouldn't be able to do it. Chapter 1727. In the following days, Sima Yue would often walk around the Sage Pavilion, trying to find out the relationship between the black-robed men and them, but to no avail. It was only then that she understood how well the Sage Pavilion kept their secrets. It was no wonder that Tang Yun had not been able to find any direct contact after so many years. During this period of time, the Sage Pavilion officially sent out invitations to those powers, inviting them to discuss the matter of the Devil Sword. Most of the forces that received the invitation expressed that they would send people to participate. At the same time, there were rumors circulating outside, saying that the Sage Pavilion was related to the mysterious black-robed man, and that the Sage Pavilion had sent people to kill the person who had saved the girls. When such news appeared at this time, Qiu Qi was so angry that he called Sima Yu over to scold her. Knowing that there was a problem on Gu Qing's side, he directly sent people to capture Gu Qing. Sima Yue was locked up to face the wall and was not allowed to come out until the meeting. By the time the Saint and Tang Yun received the news, Sima Yue was already locked up. Although they were worried, they couldn't directly plead for her. After all, they weren't close on the surface. Sima Yue was not worried at all. It was just facing the wall. What was the big deal? But when she came to the place where she faced the wall, she found out that the Sage Pavilion's punishment was rather perverted. The place to face the wall was at the bottom of a cliff called the Forgetful Cliff. Flying was not allowed here, so after going down, there was no way to come back up without someone to pick him up. If that was the case, then it wasn't a big deal. The most important thing was that this place was incomparably cold, and they couldn't use their spiritual energy to resist it. This made them reflect in the bone-chilling cold. The person who sent her down knew her position in the Sage Pavilion, so he didn't make things difficult for her. He gave her a bottle of pills and said, "This can help you resist the cold." Sima Yue took the pill and said gratefully, "Thank you. Saintish, just stay here for the next few months. Don't go inside." "Is there anything inside?" "We don't know either, but anyone who entered the depths would have already." So, Saintess, it's best that you don't go too deep. I understand. Thank you for telling me. Sima Yue smiled at them. When the two men saw that she had taken their advice, they didn't delay any longer. They sat on their flying beasts and quickly disappeared into the thick fog. Sima Yue waited for them to disappear before she carefully observed the bottom of the cliff. The entire bottom of the cliff was shrouded in a layer of white fog. It was thickest 100 meters above the ground, making it almost impossible to see the cliffs above. It was much thinner down below. At least it wasn't to the point where it couldn't differentiate between humans and beasts from 5 meters away and humans from 10 meters away. She sensed that the white fog seemed to suppress her spiritual energy, which was why she couldn't use her spiritual energy here. Moreover, the temperature of the white fog was very low. Even if it wasn't frozen, it still made people feel a bone-piercing cold. She sensed for a moment and found that her light attribute spiritual energy was suppressed here, but the ghost energy in her body was not. Thus, she kept all her light attribute spiritual energy back into her dantian, and then called out the ghost energy. Soon she no longer felt cold. She put away the pills that the guard had given her and walked towards the depths of the cliff. The more they didn't let her go, the more curious she was about what was inside. At first, she thought that those people had died because their spiritual energy was suppressed by the white fog. But when she walked deeper into the depths of the cliff, she found that the suppression on her spiritual energy was getting weaker and weaker. Not long after, she found a few skeletons. From their clothes, they were all from the Sage Pavilion, and they were all women. These people are dead. Aren't the people from the Sage Pavilion coming to collect their corpses? She despised the way the Sage Pavilion did things, but she didn't plan to collect their corpses. I wonder where this cliff leads to. She continued forward and found a few more skeletons. It seemed that they had been here for a long time, and they seemed to have been killed by spirit beasts. They flaunt themselves as so holy and righteous, but no one cares about these people who died. She looked down on the Sage Pavilion more and more. It seems that these people were attacked by spirit beasts, so they died here. From the aura left behind by the skeletons, these people weren't weak. And there were a few of them together. Under the situation where their spiritual energy wasn't suppressed, they actually died here. It seemed that this place was indeed dangerous. I feel a strong aura here. Little Seven suddenly transmitted, and there's an aura that I'm familiar with. You're familiar with it? Could it be at Qingyi's level again? Sima Yue called Little Seven out. Little Seven came out with Qingyi. After Little Seven came out, she sensed it and said, Yu, it's best that we don't go forward. Is it really at the level of an antique? Sima Yue called out. Thinking of Qingyi, she smiled at him. I wasn't talking about you. Qingyi didn't mind her words and said, there is indeed a strong aura here. Is it the same kind of plant as you guys? Sima Yue knew it. Yes. Qingyi nodded. I feel that its aura is comparable to mine. Sima Yue frowned. The Sage Pavilion actually had such a powerful guy. Under normal circumstances, only plants can live for so long. Little Seven said, but you don't have to worry. Like Qingyi, he can't just casually attack. Sima Yue remembered what Qingyi said and said, even if he can't casually attack, he can provide resources for the Sage Pavilion. Otherwise, the Sage Pavilion wouldn't be above the other powers. The guy here can't be the divine medicine Phoenix Nirvana, right? No. Qingyi said confidently, even if it's a divine medicine, it's not as valuable as this guy. Sima Yue's eyes flashed and said, since he can't casually attack, then I can go and see him. Who knows, I might be able to kidnap him and destroy the Sage Pavilion's foundation. Qingyi, Little Seven was very excited and pulled her hand saying, good. The Sage Pavilion has caused you so much suffering. Let's go and take back some of the costs. Little Seven, can you deal with that guy? Qingyi asked. Although I can't remember who it is, my sixth sense tells me that that guy shouldn't be my enemy. As long as it's not an enemy, then it's easy to deal with. Let's go. Little Seven said happily. Qingyi couldn't reject Little Seven's request, so he could only follow her. But they hadn't walked far when a spirit beast suddenly jumped out and blocked their way. Sima Yue looked at it. It looked like a tiger but wasn't a tiger. It looked like a leopard but wasn't a leopard. It looked like a bird but wasn't a bird. It had a strong aura and looked like an old guy. It was stronger than her spirit beasts. She guessed that its strength was about the same as a high paragon spirit master. Chapter 1728. Sima Yue looked at the spirit beast and finally understood why all those people died here. In her heart, she compared her opponent's strength with hers. Her chances of winning were a 0. However, she looked at Qing Yi beside her and controlled her legs that wanted to run away. They still had experts on their side. However, the other party didn't kill them as she had expected. Instead, he stared at the three of them for a while before saying, "My master invites you." After that, he turned around and walked away with graceful steps. Sima Yue glanced at Little Seven. The two of them blinked and followed the spirit beast. Seeing the two of them like this, Qing Yi helplessly shook his head and followed them. The spirit beast took them for a long distance. Sima Yue could feel the aura of several spirit beasts along the way, and they were all very powerful. Those auras had been locked onto them from the moment they entered their territory to the moment they left. If it wasn't for the spirit beast leading them, they would have probably rushed out already. "These spirit beasts aren't from the Sage Pavilion, right?" Little Seven said. "If they are, then we're in trouble." In her heart, Sima Yue would eventually go against the Sage Pavilion because the Sage Pavilion had participated in the annihilation of the Shiman clan. Furthermore, Paramount Valley had annihilated the Zhongzheng clan and Yin Yang Palace, which had harmed the Sage Pavilion's interests. More importantly, it had disgraced the Sage Pavilion. Based on the Sage Pavilion's personality, this was something that they would definitely not tolerate. They had to get back at them. Furthermore, if they knew that Sima Yue was the all-elemental spirit master that they were looking for, they would not rest until they were dead. If these spirit beasts were all from the Sage Pavilion, then it would be troublesome for them. They were definitely strong opponents. When the spirit beast in front heard Little Seven's words, it sneered, "In this world other than master, who else can make us serve?" His words were filled with disdain towards the Sage Pavilion. Sima Yue pursed her lips and thought to herself, "Then why are you guys staying in the Sage Pavilion?" After walking for a while, Sima Yue thought that they had not walked too far, but when they arrived she realized that they were already very far away from the holy city. She thought of the spirit beast's leisurely pace. It seemed simple, but every step it took was meticulous. Sima Yue was shocked and thought to herself, "Ground shrinking. We're here, let's go in." Sima Yue did not know where they were. She took a step forward and felt as if she had entered a forest. She felt much more comfortable. This is the power of the soul. Qing Yi felt the aura in the air and knew who it was. Little Seven also remembered. She pulled Sima Yue's hand and said excitedly, Yu, I know who this guy is. The things in the air are very good. You should inhale more. When we get back, we'll trick him into leaving and you'll make a killing." Sima Yue was astonished. "Is it that powerful? Do you know what it is?" It was the Tree of Souls that was on par with Qing Yi. If you can absorb its essence, it'll be of great help to your soul power. Little Seven took a deep breath. "This is the aura it emits. Don't you feel comfortable after smelling it?" Sima Yue was shocked. There was actually a Tree of Souls that was on par with the Tree of Life. You little brat. After so many years you're still the same." An old voice sounded beside her. It was as if the person speaking was right beside her. Grandpa bye. Little Seven let go of Sima Yue's hand and jumped up excitedly. Elder bye. Qing Yi also called out respectfully. This Tree of Souls was even older than the Tree of Life. "Qing Yi, you've become a real Tree of Life." Old Bai's voice was filled with excitement. "I didn't think that we'd be alive until today. Grandpa Bai, where are you?" Little Seven did not see the Tree of Souls and pouted. A white light enveloped them and in the next second, they appeared in another place. It was different from Qing Yi's huge body from before. Sima Yu only saw an old tree stump that could be hugged by a few people. It was only a few meters tall and there were a few white leaves on it. "Grandpa Bai, how did you become like this?" Little Seven saw the Tree of Souls and her eyes turned red. She ran over to support the tree trunk and gently stroked the old bark. Her tears fell down. Don't be sad." The Tree of Souls quickly sprouted a shoot from the trunk and stroked her cheeks. "Grandpa Bai, how did you become like this? Where's your big tree crown? Where's your branch?" Little Seven was very sad. She thought that she could reunite with her old friend. She did not expect to see such a scene. "Don't cry, child. We should be happy that we can meet again alive." The Tree of Souls comforted. "Old Bai, how did you?" Qing Yi walked over and stroked the wrinkles of the Tree of Life. His voice was choked with sobs. "Qing Yi, you've grown up." Qing Yi blinked his eyes and forced his tears back. He asked, "Old Bai, what happened? How did you become like this?" Sigh. The Tree of Life sighed deeply. It suddenly felt that Little Seven's aura was not right. A power gently stroked her body. "You formed a contract with a human?" "Yes." Little Seven nodded and pointed at Sima Yue. "This is my contract master. How did you form a contract with a human? Could it be that he was forced? No, Grandpa Bai. You did it to save me. Little Seven explained the situation. With Qing Yi as a witness, the Tree of Souls did not make things difficult for Sima Yue. However, Sima Yue quickly felt a power enter her sea of consciousness. She saw the scene of her forming a contract with Little Seven and the things that happened between her and Little Seven. Very quickly the power was retracted. Not bad, it's rare to have a human like you. Little Seven grabbed the Tree of Life's branch and said, Grandpa Bai, what happened to you? How did you become like this? Did the Sage Pavilion do something to you? Nothing. The Tree of Souls was unwilling to say more. Qing Yi used his power to probe the ground and shouted, You've been imprisoned. What? I've been imprisoned? Grandpa Bai, how did you get imprisoned here? Was it done by the Sage Pavilion? Little Seven jumped up. I knew that the Sage Pavilion was up to no good. I didn't think that they would dare to hurt you. Sima Yue saw Qing Yi and Little Seven's reaction and asked, What's going on? Little Seven scurried back to Sima Yue's side and pulled her hand. You saved Grandpa Bai. Grandpa Bai is so pitiful. Sima Yue patted her hand. Do you still need to use this on me? But can you let me know what's going on first? Chapter 1729. After Qing Yi and Little Seven's explanation, Sima Yue finally understood why they were so anxious when the Tree of Souls was imprisoned here. It turned out that the Tree of Souls was once as free as they were, but tens of thousands of years ago, it was designed by someone to seal the surrounding land and imprison it here. Being unable to leave this land was originally nothing to the plants, but the seal was a dark seal, causing the land to slowly lose its nutrients, and it could no longer provide nutrients for the Tree of Souls. Moreover, the dark power in the seal would slowly seep into the body of the Tree of Souls along with the soil, disintegrating his power. What? If Elder Bai dies, then the Sage Pavilion won't be able to gain any more power, right? Sima Yue asked. Because only this kind of seal can trap Elder Bai. With old Bai's strength, he would need at least tens of thousands of years to kill him. Tens of thousands of years is enough for them to develop. Qing Yi said, Furthermore, look at the people from the Sage Pavilion. Their spiritual energy has an affinity with normal people. It's all thanks to Elder Bai. In other words, they are exploiting Elder Bai's strength while imprisoning him? So the shamelessness of the Sage Pavilion has been going on for so long. Sima Yue laughed coldly as she despised the Sage Pavilion even more. Grandpa White doesn't have much strength left. If I stay here any longer, I'll die in a few years. Qing Yi and I can't come, so we can only rely on you. Little Seven said. Sima Yue didn't know why Little Seven and the rest couldn't attack, but after checking the situation she finally understood. The seal below was made entirely of dark obsidian spirit stones. These spirit stones were extremely rare. Although each of them contained a rich amount of spirit energy, not many people dared to use them. This was because the spirit energy contained within them was of the dark and fire attribute. The average person wouldn't be able to digest it. As for the dark fire attribute, it was no different from arsenic to divine trees like Qing Yi and Elder Bai. As long as they touched it, they would feel very uncomfortable. It was no wonder that Elder Bai had been trapped for so many years in a seal set up with obsidian spirit stones. She checked the situation around them and her respect for Elder Bai grew. The plants here are already unable to survive. They don't have the strength to resist the power of the dark obsidian spirit stones, but Elder Bai used his own strength to attract all the energy from the dark obsidian spirit stones to his roots, allowing the other plants to survive. How is it? Can you break this seal? Little Seven looked at Sima Yue. It's a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible. Sima Yu's expression was not relaxed. This seal is a little complicated, but it's a good thing that so many years have passed and its power is almost exhausted. No, at the final moment of the seal, it will be destroyed along with its sealed artifact. Sima Yu said. It. I'll leave it to you. Qing Yi looked at Sima Yu. He didn't say anything polite to her, but his words were heavy. Don't worry, leave this to me. This kind of dark power is useless against me. Sima Yue said, but before that we have to move the surrounding plants away. Otherwise they won't be able to withstand the explosion of power. Let us handle this. Qing Yi said. All right. Sima Yu began to deal with the soil. She moved away all the soil around Elder White. Finally, a large hole appeared. In the hole, Elder White's roots were intertwined with a few dark spirit stones. Those dark spirit stones had spirit energy between them, trapping the roots in the middle. How complicated. She glanced at the obsidian stones and thought about which one to open first. Little Seven left Qing Yi to move the flowers and trees while she ran to Sima Yoyue's side and saw her staring blankly at the obsidian stones. Do you not know how to solve it? Little Seven asked. Sima Yoyue pointed at an obsidian spirit stone and said, this should be the key to the entire seal. Opening it is already halfway to success. You have a but behind it, right? Sima Yoyue nodded. Half of it has already grown into Old White's roots. If I remove this obsidian stone, it might cause harm to Old White. I don't know Old White well and have never encountered such a situation before, so I don't know what the consequences will be. I also don't know if Old White can withstand it, so I can't act rashly. It's okay. Anyway, the worst outcome won't be worse than the original one. Just do as you wish, don't think about anything else. Old White comforted. But if anything, it's my life. No matter what, it's better than staying here. Being imprisoned without freedom and having to fight against the dark power day after day. He couldn't hold on much longer. Even if he was destroyed, it was better than this. Grandpa White is in pain, but I don't want Grandpa White to disappear. Little Seven looked at her with tears in her eyes. Sima Yue touched her head and said, I won't let your Grandpa White disappear. To remove this seal there should be more than one way. There's still time, I'll study it and see if there are any other ways. If there isn't, we'll try this. Okay. These stones will hurt you. Wait for me up here, I'll go down and take a look. Sima Yue flew to the giant pit and landed on Old White's roots. Why don't you let me air try? Little Seven reminded her, me air is so powerful and he jumped out from the stone, he might be able to deal with these stones. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. She called me air out. Me air looked at the stones and shook his head. The spirit energy is inside the stones. It's easy for me to break them, but it won't work if you want me to pay attention to those. So, he wasn't confident that he wouldn't hurt Old White. Sima Yue was a little disappointed. She thought that me air would be able to do it, but she didn't expect him to fail. If we want to remove the seal, we have to deal with the energy between the stones. Once we move the stones, the energy will retaliate. She frowned, this might still hurt Old White's body. If these stones weren't of the dark fire element, I would break them with one punch. Little Seven pouted unhappily. Why don't you let Little Black try? The only person me air was afraid of was Little Black. If he couldn't, maybe Little Black could. Sima Yue thought about Little Black's identity, he might be able to deal with these stones. Although he looked like a piece of trash, he might be able to block this energy. Chapter 1730. Sima Yue called Little Black out. The little fellow rushed into her arms and bit her arm. It was as happy as a puppy that saw its owner. She grabbed Little Black's neck in disgust and lifted it up. You're not a puppy. If you act like a puppy again, I'll throw you into the dog meat restaurant. Little Hay whimpered and nodded to show that it understood. Those big black eyes looked at Sima Yue aggrievedly, as if she had suffered a great grievance. Unfortunately, she had no resistance to this kind of gaze from her beasts. Okay, I won't throw you to the dog meat restaurant. She sighed. Try this and see if it works for you. She placed Little Black on the ground and ordered it to attack the obsidian spirit stones. Little Black looked at her and then looked at the black stones. It stretched out its paw and smashed the black spirit stones into pieces. Woof woof woof. Little Black was extremely excited when he caught a whiff of the black obsidian spirit stones. He lowered his head and began to chew on one obsidian spirit stone after another. Crack, crack. Under everyone's horrified gazes, Blackie quickly ate all the small pieces of obsidian. However, it was still not satisfied after eating that piece. It slammed its paw down and split another black spirit stone into several pieces. Then it wrapped up another piece and began to chew on it. Little Seven's mouth twitched. This guy. Sima Yue looked at Little Black, who was happily eating with his butt sticking out. The power of the obsidian spirit stone had no effect on him at all. Moreover, its actions did not trigger the seal, so it did not affect Elder Bai. Blackie, come and try this one. Sima Yue carried Blackie to the side of a dark spirit stone and patted its head, encouraging it. Little Black wagged its tail. Although it didn't know why Yu wanted to change the location, it still obediently smashed the piece that Yu mentioned. At that moment, Sima Yue clearly felt the seal vibrate. Elder Bai could not help but groan. Elder Bai, how are you? She didn't know Elder Bai's situation and was a little worried. I'm fine. It was as if a thorn that had been stuck in my body was pulled out. It hurt a little at that moment, but it will be fine after a while. Mr. Bai replied. Yes, it will be better later on. The seal was made up of over 100 obsidian spirit stones, but it was mainly formed by connecting 10 of the main stones. We've already dealt with one of them. We just need to pluck out the remaining 9. Sima Yu understood that it definitely wasn't just a momentary pain. Its voice sounded a lot weaker than before. 9 more times? Little Seven cried out, it hurts so much just once. Grandpa Bai will die from the pain. Little Hay has already suppressed most of its power. It can't completely neutralize it either. Sima Yue was helpless as well. After pulling out the second stone, Sima Yue asked Little Black to stop. Go play with Little Seven for a while. Sima Yue carried Little Black and flew to the shore. She did not want him to continue. If this continued, Master Bai would not be able to hold on. Little Seven took Little Black from her arms and asked, How is Old White? I haven't taken a look yet. It should be fine. Sima Yue comforted her. I'll take a look first. I'll leave Old White to you, Jingyi said. Okay. Sima Yue nodded at him and flew back to Old White's roots. Old White, I want to feel your current condition. Don't resist me, she said to Old White. After getting Old White's response, she placed her hand on the tree trunk and injected her spirit energy to check on his condition. However, other than her contracted beast, she was not familiar with other plant-type spirit beasts. Hence she could not find anything. She shook her head at Qingyi. Qingyi was silent for a while before flying to Sima Yue. Qingyi. Little Seven cried out in shock and subconsciously pulled on Qingyi's clothes. You stay up there, Qingyi said, and then landed beside Elder Bai. The power of the black spiritual stone made him frown uncomfortably. Why did you come down? Sima Yue asked. I can see Old White's condition, Qingyi said as he placed his hand on the tree trunk and began to check on Old White's condition. He's much weaker than before, Qingyi said. Only 2 of them went out. Old White definitely can't take it anymore. Then we can only rest first, Sima Yue said. Rest for a few days and see. Qingyi shook his head. It's not enough. As long as the seal is not removed, he will only receive a small amount of energy every day. It's not enough for him to use every day. Then, what should we do? Before Sima Yue could say anything, she saw Qingyi's body emitting a golden light. An endless stream of life energy was injected into the Tree of Souls. No, Qingyi, no. Old White did not allow him to do so. This will consume your energy. Qingyi did not speak, but his hands did not stop moving. Qingyi, if you continue to consume energy like this, it will take twice the effort for half the result. Old White's voice sounded much more energetic. Sima Yue looked at Qingyi. She saw that his face was getting paler and his body was trembling. She went forward and grabbed his hand to stop him from injecting energy. It's done. She brought him back to the top of the pit. At this moment his body swayed twice. Qingyi, how are you? Little Seven threw away Little Black, who was in her arms, and reached out to support Qingyi. I'm fine. I just need to rest for a while. Qingyi waved his hand. Sima Yue gave him a pill. This is prepared for the beasts. I'm not sure if it has any effect on you. However, I added some soul fluid. It should be of some help to you. Thank you. Qingyi took the pill and ate it. His body felt much better. Soul fluid. Sima Yue thought of something. She left the few of them and returned to Old White's side. She reached out to touch the tree trunk. She could feel the life energy under the ancient wrinkles. It seemed that Qingyi's life energy was not wasted. Old White, since you are the Tree of Souls, then soul-type things should be more useful to you, right? Yes. Then let me try this. Sima Yue took out a bottle of soul fluid. She cut open the tree bark and dripped the soul fluid in. She dripped half a bottle of the soul fluid. Old White absorbed the soul fluid. The entire tree trunk felt much better. Even the few white leaves on the tree were stretched. Thank you. I haven't felt this comfortable in a long time, Old White said. It seems that it is useful to you. Sima Yue smiled. Then how many times can you support it? With Qingyi's and yours, I should be able to support it twice. Old White seemed to see hope. Alright, then let's continue. After these 2 times we will rest. We will continue after Qingyi recovers. Alright. After repeating this twice, 3 months later, Sima Yue finally pulled out all the remaining main stones. To be more precise, all of them were eaten by Little Black into his stomach. Chapter 1731. Sima Yue snatched the remaining obsidian spirit stones from Blackie and kept them in her spirit pagoda. Please search. To see the most complete. Update the fastest. If you eat too much, you might get bloated. She flicked Little Black's head, not allowing it to eat any more. Without the seal, Little Seven and Chingy also came down. Grandfather White, how do you feel now? Seven hugged the tree trunk and asked. It's very comfortable. Although Master Bai's voice was still very tired, he was much more relaxed. Thank you. It's good that you're all right. Sima Yue smiled. Her heart ached for the soul fluid that she had used. However, seeing how happy Little Seven and Chingy were, she felt that it was not a waste. Of course, if it was an ordinary person, she wouldn't be so generous. Sima Yue filled the hole with soil and walked to the side with Little Hay. I'll go meet those spirit beasts. She carried Little Black to the edge of the forest and found the spirit beast that brought her here. My name is Ling. Thank you. Even though he was thanking her, he was still as proud as ever. Sima Yue. Sima Yue saw the kindness in his eyes. You've been protecting Master Bai, haven't you? He is protecting the life here, Ling said. What about the other spirit beasts? This is their habitat. Let's mind our own business. But some of them are friendlier. The other one is from the Sage Pavilion? Not really. The spirit beasts that were willing to follow the Sage Pavilion had all left. Those who haven't left are those who want to live freely here, Ling said. They're all old fogies. If we were to fight with the Sage Pavilion, would they jump out to help the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue asked. I wouldn't have joined in the past, but I can't say for sure in the future. Huh? They've imprisoned Elder Bai for so many years. We've been able to live for so long because of Elder Bai's kindness. If Elder Bai wants to take revenge, we will not stand by and do nothing. But it's only for Elder Bai. Master Bai will be very happy that you guys are so considerate. Sima Yue said. Woof, woof, woof. When Sima Yue was not paying attention, Little Black ran out and came back with a bone in its mouth. It even wagged its tail proudly at her. Oh my god. Sima Yue facepalmed. She was so angry that she didn't even want to talk. Aha, why does this little guy of yours think of himself as a dog? Ling was amused by Blackie's obsequious behavior. Sima Yue squatted down, dug out the human bone from Little Black's mouth and threw it away. She said helplessly, I have one or two spirit beasts that are more troublesome. Woof woof woof. Little Black barked at her twice, not knowing if it was agreeing with her. Then you must often have headaches. Ling looked at her sympathetically. Sima Yue smiled. Sometimes I do have a headache. But you dote on it a lot, Ling said affirmatively. Those who are with me are my family, Sima Yue replied. No, you are very fond of it, said the spirit. Sima Yue stared at it for a while and smiled. She did not deny it. She really doted on Little Roar, but this kind of doting did not affect the big picture. You. Little Roar's voice shouted in her mind, making her think that she was hallucinating. What's wrong? She could hear that it was a little excited, but it was not anxious. She guessed that it had encountered something interesting. You were coming to Holy City. You're going to see the cute and adorable me. Are you happy? Little Roar said excitedly. No. Sima Yue poured a bucket of cold water on it. I don't think you're missing me, right? Tell me, what did you encounter that made you so excited? The Holy City Assembly is about to start. We're on the way. I'll contact you when I arrive. You have to miss me. Little Roar said and went silent again. Although Little Roar could not see, Sima Yue still rolled her eyes. Is it that fellow that gave you a headache? Ling said affirmatively. Yes, that fellow. Sima Yue said helplessly but dotingly. It's probably because he thought that something was going to happen, so he's excited. I'm leaving. She brought Little Black back. Little Seven and the rest were still chatting. Little Seven, we're leaving. Little Roar is coming back. I think Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior and the rest will come too. Holy City should be bustling now. We should go back. Sima Yue said to Little Seven and the other two. If you guys still want to chat, you can stay here and come back when you're done. She thought that it was rare for Little Seven and Qingyi to meet the same kind of people from that era. They definitely had a lot to talk about. Grandpa White said that he wants to go with us. Little Seven came over and held her hand. Grandpa White said that he has been here for too long and wants to go with us. He heard that it's fun to follow you. We'll decide when we find a place that he likes. All right. It's more suitable for Old White to recover in the Spirit Pagoda. Sima Yue agreed. After Old White left the land, she kept him in the Spirit Pagoda with Little Seven and the rest. She looked at Little Black, who was retreating on the ground, and shook her head. No, you have to go back. Others have seen you. Once they see you, my identity will be exposed. Woo woo woo, Little Black didn't bark like a dog this time. He just stared at her with his big eyes. I'll bring you to play next time, Sima Yue said. Otherwise, others will recognize me. They all know you. No, unless you change your appearance. Otherwise you can't. When Little Black heard that, he whimpered twice and turned 2 rounds on the spot. Then, a little black dog turned into a cute little white dog. He stared at her with his big black eyes. Sima Yue. In the end, she still brought this little white dog that was not intelligent enough and only knew how to act cute and left. Spirit seemed to know what was going on inside. He didn't say much and only said, I'll bring you out. Sima Yue didn't reject him. With him around, she didn't have to worry about anything. Goodbye. After Ling sent her to the place where they met, she left these 2 words and proudly left. Sima Yue brought Little Black back to the bottom of the cliff. When she reached here, she felt that her spirit energy was being suppressed again. Woof woof woof, Little Black was by her feet and barked. Sima Yue squatted down and reached out to pet his head. She looked at the person in front of her cautiously. When she saw the figure clearly, she was very surprised. Assistant Pavilion Master? Why did you come down? Tang Yun saw that she was fine and heaved a sigh of relief. Why aren't you at the bottom of the cliff? I look around when I have time. Sima Yue comforted Little Black and stood up to look at him. Are you going to face the wall and reflect on your mistakes too? Of course not. Before you came down, didn't you ask me to follow the information you gave me to investigate the relationship between the black-robed men and the Sage Pavilion? There's news. This book came from. Chapter 1732. There's news? Yes. Tang Yun continued. Not only that, we also found out that this matter was not done by the Sage Pavilion alone. There is someone behind it, and the person behind it is related to the Qi spirit. What? Sima Yue was shocked. How is it related to the Qi spirit? At first we also found it unbelievable. Later on we had no choice but to believe it. Furthermore. And what? We suspect that this matter might have something to do with the Yin clan. With which hidden family? Sima Yue looked at Tang Yun and had some guesses in her heart. Xianxiu clan. Tang Yun said, I know that you have a good relationship with the young master of the Xianxiu clan, so I came to give it to you after I found out. Sima Yue agreed. She suddenly recalled the incident with the Qi spirit. When she went to save her master, why did the people from the Xianxiu clan appear in such a timely manner? When she returned, the guards told her that someone was looking for her. However, that incident and the people from the Xianxiu clan had only been looking for her for a few days. How could they find her so quickly? Unless they had been there all along, but they didn't want him to go deeper into this matter, so they saved Feng Zhixing and the others. Moreover, they knew that she could summon the heavenly lightning and had the vermilion bird divine fire. That was why they emptied the tomb, so that she wouldn't be able to find anything. When she returned to the clan, she had already cured her father, so she didn't think too much about it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have waited until now to realize that something was wrong. She closed her eyes and asked, Does he know about this? I'm not sure, but I think that as the young master he should more or less know a thing or two about the clan. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility that only those in power in the family knew about this. You can ask him yourself, said Tang Yun. He's here too? Xianxiu clan will be participating in this meeting too. They haven't reached Holy City yet, Tang Yun said. Holy City will be very lively this time. The Holy City. Sima Yue narrowed her eyes. If she could, she wanted the Holy City to disappear from this mainland. Yue, what do you want? Revenge. Sima Yue said, The Sage Pavilion has done so many inhumane things. This is a good opportunity to expose them. But even so, you don't have the power to go against it. The Sage Pavilion's original power was already very strong, and the power hidden behind them was even stronger. Moreover, its relationship with other forces was even more complicated. At such a time, it's even harder to overthrow them. Are you saying that if there are many people participating, will they help the Sage Pavilion? Sima Yue said. This can be their help, but it can also be our help. You want those people to deal with the Sage Pavilion? That possibility is too small. Tang Yun disagreed with her approach. Compared to Yue, he understood the power of the Sage Pavilion better. You think it's impossible? Sima Yue asked. The Sage Pavilion is different from the Yang clan. They have too many branches and too many people who believe in them. They have many connections with many powers. If you want them to turn against the Sage Pavilion, the possibility is smaller. That's because the benefits given to them are not enough. Sima Yue said, if the benefits given to them are enough, anything is possible. Moreover, who says that I don't have the same power as them? Tang Yun saw her confident smile and was a little surprised. Was there something that he didn't know? Sima Yue saw his expression and smiled. Didn't you say that the Sage Pavilion has many connections with other powers? My power is the same. In fact, I have more connections with other powers than the Sage Pavilion. Moreover, after all these years, they have never given up on investigating the black-robed men. You are? That's right. You forgot that I am the Vice Alliance leader of the Alliance. Sima Yue said, compared to the Sage Pavilion, the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Masters Guild, the Array Masters Guild, the Beast Tamer Guild, the Seeker Spirit Master Guild and the Spirit Master Guild formed an alliance, whose network is bigger. Aha, I forgot about that. Tang Yun laughed out loud. Seeing her confident and slightly mischievous look, he understood why he liked her so much. When the black-robed men attacked the various guilds, they were furious. Although it has been a few decades, they have never stopped investigating the black-robed men. Now that they know that it was the Sage Pavilion who did it, how can they just stand by and watch? But it's not long before the convention. They won't be able to make it even if they want to. Tang Yun was still worried. That's not a problem. They are already on the way and should be here soon. Sima Yue said. How do you know? I already sent the news back before I came down. They already know. Sima Yue said, when the time comes, you can go and contact them and tell them the news. What about you? Of course I'm going to stay here and reflect. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. I'm being punished to stay here and can't go forward. Tang Yun, tell them everything you found out. Then give them my plan for reference. Sima Yue told Tang Yun her plan and said earnestly, I'll leave it to you. You have to work hard. Tang Yun was unhappy that she was leaving all the work to him. Then what are you going to do? My power is so low. Of course I'll just watch from the side. Sima Yue laughed evilly. It's better for you guys to be the vanguard. Tang Yun felt that he shouldn't talk to her anymore. Otherwise he would be angered to death. Actually, it was fine if he was angry. The problem was that he couldn't do anything to her. He could only be angry. This feeling was too unpleasant. Hence he didn't even say goodbye and left. When he reached the cliff of broken love, he remembered that he hadn't reminded her not to go too deep. It was too dangerous. After thinking about it, he didn't go down. That guy had more ideas than him. Furthermore, he was fine after staying here for 3 months. There shouldn't be any danger. After thinking it through, he left with a peace of mind. Although he was a little resentful towards Sima Yue for making him do these things, he still had to do what he had to do. Who asked him to have a life of hard work? After Sima Yue confirmed that there was no one around, she brought Little Black into the spirit pagoda. Seeing Little Black turn white, the beasties were surprised and pulled it away to chat. Sima Yue didn't care about them. She went to the place where Elder Bai was staying. It wasn't far from Qingyi. At this time Old White looked much better. There were a few more branches on the trunk and a lot more leaves. Chapter 1733. Little Seven and the others were chatting when they saw Sima Yue walking over. They smiled and waved at her. Yu, why are you here? I'm here to check on Master Bai and ask if he wants to take revenge. Sima Yue said. Revenge? Elder Bai was stunned. Obviously he had not thought about this at the moment. Yes. Although the person who trapped you is already dead, the people of the Sage Pavilion have known of your existence for generations, but they have never thought of letting you go. Instead, they have continuously taken from you, causing you to become so weak. Don't you want revenge? Sima Yue asked. We have to take revenge, of course we have to take revenge. Little Seven said, they caused Grandpa Bai to suffer so much, how can we not take revenge? However, I do have some understanding of the Sage Pavilion. With my current strength it would be difficult to deal with them. Besides, I don't want to hurt the innocent. Elder Bai's heart was still relatively benevolent. Perhaps they didn't do anything to you, but after so many years, the Holy Monarch has used various pretenses to do many bad things. Not many people are clean. Sima Yue said. I only want to take revenge on their pavilion master because for generations only the pavilion master knows of my existence. But with my current strength I can't beat him. Elder Bai said, let's talk about revenge in a few years. As long as Elder Bai has thought it through. Sima Yue said, this time we are preparing to deal with the Sage Pavilion, so we came in to ask. Yes. Elder Bai was very grateful to Sima Yue. Your soul has been a little unstable recently. This is my remaining essence. Take it. As he spoke, a branch drooped down, a few drops of milky white liquid trailing from the leaves. Elder Bai, you are not in a good condition right now. How can I take your essence? Sima Yue refused. You saved me and gave me such a good environment to recuperate. I don't mind giving you this. Just bear with it. Elder Bai said. Seeing that she still wanted to refuse, Elder Bai said, the power in your body is getting harder and harder to control recently, and your soul is also affected. Although your soul fluid can increase the strength of your soul, it can't consolidate it. With this, your soul will be more stable in your body. Don't refuse, you need it now. Sima Yue did not expect Master Bai to know so much about her condition and accept his gift after she was cured. She opened her mouth and the few drops of milky white liquid fell into her mouth. After swallowing the liquid, she felt her entire body relax. Every pore on her body was breathing, as if she had returned to her mother's body. She sat down on the ground. After absorbing all the essence, she could feel that her soul force had become much stronger and more stable. Even the discomfort caused by using a bit of faith power had disappeared. She exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and opened her eyes. She was much more spirited. She stood up and bowed to Elder Bai, saying gratefully, "Thank you for your gift, Elder Bai." Since Elder Bai didn't want to take revenge now, she didn't want to disturb them and left the spirit pagoda. She could communicate with the outside world from the bottom of the cliff, but she couldn't do so from the spirit pagoda. So even if she had nothing to do at the bottom of the cliff, she had to stay there. After that, news from the outside kept coming in. There was news from Little Roar, from the Union Alliance, from Tang Yun, and from the many scarlet bees that she had left outside. It could be said that she had the most comprehensive information. Even Qiu Qi might not know more than her. On the day before the meeting, Qiu Qi personally came to the bottom of the cliff. Seeing Sima Yue hugging Little Black and shivering, he said, "Do you know your mistake?" This subordinate knows her mistake. Sima Yue obediently admitted her mistake. "Since you know your mistake, let's go up." Qiu Qi grabbed her hand and flew to the top of the cliff. His spiritual power was not suppressed at all. She glanced at Qiu Qi. Was his spiritual power different from others? Just like her ghost aura. "What are you thinking about?" Qiu Qi asked. "Pavilion Master, you don't seem to be affected down there." Sima Yue said softly, pretending to be afraid of him. Qiu Qi was very satisfied with her current reaction. It seemed that these few months down there were not in vain. The white fog down there is only suppressing spiritual power. It can't do anything to other powers. I'm only using the power of faith down there. The power of faith can be used like that. Sima Yue was a little surprised. She thought to herself how powerful his power of faith was. Seeing the shock in her eyes, he smiled and patted her shoulders, saying, "You're not strong enough now. Wait until you have enough power of faith in your body. You can do it too." "Really?" "Of course. You have to know that our power of faith can suppress all kinds of spiritual power. No spiritual power can break through the defense that we set up with the power of faith." Sima Yue's eyes widened. Was the power of faith that magical? Then wouldn't Pavilion Master be invincible and undefeatable? No matter how strong those people are, they can't compare to Pavilion Master. If everyone in our sect could do it, then wouldn't our Sage Pavilion's power be first? Ha! Qiu Qi laughed out loud. If it was that easy, why would we be suppressed by others? The power of faith was accumulated bit by bit. It was very difficult to reach the level of the main body. Even for me, if it wasn't for your help last time, I wouldn't have succeeded. Sima Yue was shocked. Her help? She didn't see this in Zhong Zhenghanyu's memories. Could it be that Qiu Qi made a mistake? No. She realized that there was a blank space in Zhong Zhenghanyu's consciousness. That was a sealed memory. Could it be that Qiu Qi did it? She knew it. Qiu Qi's attitude towards Zhong Zhenghanyu was too strange. With her identity, how could she become the holy daughter of the Sage Pavilion and even personally come to pick her up? She just didn't know what happened between the two of them. Then if we cultivate the power of faith, will there be nothing that can suppress us? If that was the case, her plan had to be changed. Actually, it's not that there isn't, it just doesn't exist. Qiu Qi said. Doesn't exist? That's right. You know, our power of faith is obtained from external sources, so it's not pure power of faith. So the only thing that can suppress us in this world is pure power of faith. However, there's no such power of faith in this world. Qiu Qi said, cultivate well. When you have enough power of faith in your body, I'll teach you how to use it. Thank you, Pavilion Master. Sima Yue lowered her head, hiding the emotions in her eyes. She now felt that the prophecy that the Sage Pavilion got back then might be true. She was the one who would suppress them. Chapter 1734. Sima Yue followed Qiuqi back. Before leaving, Qiuqi grabbed her shoulder and said, "Everything will be fine after this is over." After saying that, he left. Sima Yue looked at his back view and felt that he was a little strange. Who knew what Zhongzheng Han Yu's sealed memories were for? Saintess. Gushi appeared behind her and shouted respectfully, "Let's go back." Sima Yue knew that Gushi was here to pick her up. The moment she turned around, she realized that Gushi looked at Qiuqi differently from other people. When they returned to Zhongzheng Han Yu's place, Sima Yue chased everyone away, leaving only Gushi. "Saintess, tomorrow is the meeting. Do you want to have a good rest?" Gushi asked. "Gushi, you became my personal maidservant after I came to the General Pavilion, right?" Sima Yue asked. "Then where did you serve before?" "I used to serve in the Pavilion Master's palace," Gushi replied. "Then do you know what my lost memories are?" "What?" Gui looked at her. He didn't know why she asked that. "A part of my memory has been sealed, you know that, right?" Sima Yue said, "Pavilion Master's kindness towards me is a little abnormal. I think it has something to do with my past. Since you were ordered by the Pavilion Master to take care of me, you should know what happened before." "This servant doesn't know anything." Gushi lowered her head. "Gushi, since you've been with me for so long, you should know that I'm not a good-tempered person. Even if you came from the Pavilion Master." Sima Yue threatened Zhongzheng Hanyu. "Saintess, I really don't know." Gushi lowered her head, not letting Sima Yue see the emotions in her eyes. "No, you can choose or not. But I don't think the Pavilion Master will blame me for accidentally killing a servant girl. After all, at this moment I should be more important than you. I know you're a smart person and you know what's best for you," Sima Yue said. Gushi paused and immediately knelt down. Her body trembled as she said, "Saintess, this servant really doesn't know what happened. I'll only give you 2 minutes to think about it." Sima Yue sat down and picked up the teacup to drink some tea. 2 minutes later, she put down the teacup and stared at Gushi's head. Gushi looked up at her and said, "This servant really doesn't know what happened. I only know that I stayed in the Pavilion Master's palace for a night. After that, this servant was assigned to take care of you. As for what exactly happened, I really don't know." Sima Yue looked at her, trying to figure out the truth of her words. After a while, she got up and walked out. When she passed by Gushi, she paused for a moment. "I know that other than taking care of me, you also keep an eye on me. You can tell this to the Pavilion Master if you think you can bear the consequences." After she left, Gushi sat paralyzed on the ground, her clothes were soaked in cold sweat. At that moment, she really felt the murderous intent. Sima Yue returned to her room and set up a spirit barrier. Then she entered the spirit pagoda and went to the place where Zhongzheng Hanyu was locked up. Zhongzheng Hanyu had already been tortured by her beasts. When she saw Sima Yue, she only raised her eyelids and didn't even make a sound. Sima Yue didn't want to talk nonsense with her. She just checked her body and looked as if she had expected it. "What happy thing did you find on me again?" "I know what your sealed memories are." Sima Yue continued, "Do you want to know?" "No. It's definitely not something good coming out of your mouth." Zhongzheng Hanyu sneered and didn't look at Sima Yue. Winner takes all, she was now a prisoner. What else could she do? "How do you know it's not something good? Maybe it's something good for you?" Sima Yue continued, "But I heard that Sage Pavilion's holy maiden must be a virgin. I wonder how Qiuqi concealed your identity?" "What do you mean?" Zhongzheng Hanyu finally looked at her. "It's literally what it means. Aren't you curious? You're clearly not a virgin. How did you become a holy maiden?" Sima Yue asked. "Impossible. I've never done those things before. How could it not be?" Zhongzheng Hanyu didn't believe her. "I know you want to attack me and make me break down. But it's useless to fabricate these things." "Is that so? How do you know I'm fabricating it? Don't you know the changes in your body?" Sima Yue smiled happily. "I've already helped you check it out. I've also seen your body. Why didn't I realize that you're a great cauldron in the past?" Zhongzheng Hanyu's expression changed. Sima Yue wasn't wrong. She knew her own body best. Even the smallest changes could be seen in her eyes. But she had never thought about this problem before. Today Sima Yue brought it out. "Impossible. You're lying to me." She shook her head, unwilling to believe it. "Looking at you, you don't seem happy." "That's right. You've always valued your body. You're not willing to compromise. You feel that those men aren't good enough for you. Now that you've lost your virginity for no reason and your memories have been sealed, you really can't be happy. Sima Yu analyzed. However, I think what you're really upset about now is why he wanted you but sealed your memories, right? Do you feel like you've been played? Shut up. Zhong Jinghan Yu covered her ears and shouted, Sima Yue, you're saying all these without any basis. Don't try to attack me. I won't fall for your trick. How am I trying to attack you? I just feel that you have the right to know the truth. If you really don't want to hear it, then so be it. Sima Yue shrugged. Looking at her pained expression, she smirked. Actually, with your physique, you'll have a better future in Northern Du Clan than in Sage Pavilion. Their cultivation method is especially suitable for you. It's a pity that they're extinct now. Shut up. You slut. Other than using these methods to deal with me, what else can you do? Kill me if you dare. Zhong Jinghan Yu shouted. You want to die so badly. Sima Yue leaned in front of her and smiled coldly. I wanted to kill you before, but now I understand that you can only endure more pain if you're alive. I'll repay you for all the pain you've inflicted on me. Here you'll realize how luxurious death is. Sima Yue, you slut. Slut. I'm going to kill you. Zhong Jinghan Yu attacked Sima Yue but was caught by her wrist. Chapter 1735. Sima Yu flung her forcefully and Zhong Jinghan Yu was thrown out. Her head hit the wall heavily. When she raised her head, blood flowed down her cheeks and dyed one side of her face red. She glared viciously at Sima Yue, wanting to tear her into pieces. Sima Yue wiped her hands and threw the towel on the floor. She said in disdain, It's useless to look at me like that. You should have known that you would end up like this when you cheated and used my feelings. Just kill me. Zhong Jinghan Yu looked at her. You wouldn't treat your enemies like this in the past. You said that you would kill them directly. Why did you leave me alone? Because I've never hated anyone as much as I hate you. Sima Yue's face was filled with hatred. I want you to watch me walk step by step to the top of the world, while you can only look up at me and never be free. You will suffer for all eternity. Zhong Jinghan Yu looked at Sima Yue in disbelief. Sima Yue looked at the pain, anger, and despair on her face and smiled. Tomorrow I will let you see with your own eyes how the sect that you rely on for survival is destroyed. I will destroy your last hope. After that, she turned and left, instructing Little Spirit to remember to relay the situation outside for Zhong Jinghan Yu tomorrow. Zhong Jinghan Yu laid on the ground, looking at her back as she left. The tears she held back for a long time finally fell. Sima Yue left the Spirit Pagoda in a bad mood. She remembered that before her mother was killed, she had always told her not to take revenge and to live a good life. Mother, you know that carrying hatred will make people unhappy, so you gave it to me like that? She murmured. She blinked her eyes a few times, forcing back the tears in her eyes. The next day, Sima Yue went to the main palace early in the morning. She didn't have to do anything today. She just had to stay by Qiu Qi's side. Thinking of what she knew last night, she looked at Qiu Qi and felt that he was a beast in disguise. You have to stay by my side all the time today, okay? Qiu Qi didn't notice her strange behavior and reminded her. Sima Yue felt that something was wrong with his tone and asked, Did something happen? We only found out last night that the ancient spirit beasts got the news from somewhere and rushed over. I'm afraid things won't go so smoothly today. Qiu Qi said, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior is very powerful. The other ancient spirit beasts are not easy to deal with either. Just remember to follow me today. Yes, I got it, Sima Yue replied. Seeing that it was about time, Qiu Qi led everyone to the venue. Sima Yue followed behind him quietly. She could feel the pressure coming from inside even before she arrived. It seemed like the Sage Pavilion's position was not low. Those who were invited to participate were not ordinary people. After they walked in, the venue immediately quieted down. Qiu Qi came to the main seat and sat down. Sima Yue came to the seat beside him and sat down. That seat was higher than the other vice pavilion masters of the Sage Pavilion. Welcome to today's meeting. I've been quite busy these days, so I hope you can forgive me if I haven't been a good host. Qiu Qi said politely. The group of people below replied, Don't mention it. Time is tight, so I won't waste any more words. I'll go straight to today's main topic and discuss the purpose of this meeting. As everyone knows, the ancient spirit beasts have been acting more and more wildly recently. They've killed humans, seized territories, and chased away the spirit beasts that used to live there. Their actions are too barbaric and pose a great threat to the lives of humans and spirit beasts. So, we have to think of a way to deal with them today. Pavilion Master Qiu, Didn't you invite us here to discuss the matter of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword? Someone below asked. Indeed, the Sky Splitter Devil Sword is also a problem we have to discuss. But we have to discuss this later. Now we have to discuss the ancient spirit beast. Chiu Chi said, if we don't solve this problem, countless of us will be threatened by the ancient spirit beasts. Pavilion Master Chiu is right. The ancient spirit beasts have been very rampant recently. The people we send out have all been killed. Just as Chiu Chi finished speaking, someone immediately agreed. Sima Yue glanced at that person. Wasn't that Chiu Chi's friend? She pursed her lips. Jumping out at this time, no matter how she looked at it, it was to stir up everyone's emotions. It was obvious that Chiu Chi had arranged it. However, it would not be just one person like this. There would be at least a few of them. Only then would it be able to stir up the resonance of the others. Sure enough, just as that person finished speaking, a few more people began to agree. They all ridiculed the ancient spirit beast's actions and called for everyone to deal with them together. With these people's words, the anger of the others was also stirred up. They all felt that the ancient spirit beast had gone too far and should be eliminated. I wonder if Pavilion Master has any good ideas? Finally, someone raised the key question. The ancient spirit beast's battle power is too strong. If we deal with them alone, we have no chance of winning. So, if we want to deal with them, the best way is to join forces and form an alliance. Then we can deal with them. Chiu Chi said. That's right. I heard that Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior is very strong. Those ancient spirit beasts are also very powerful. If someone leads us, we don't have to be afraid of them. Not only that, if we can capture the ancient spirit beasts and contract them, wouldn't that also increase our strength? But even if we capture them, we can't contract them. It's impossible for them to recognize an owner. Then we can't tame them or contract them. Who says we can't tame them? Have you all forgotten? Didn't some people contract many of them? You're from the Sima family of the 64th state? That's right. They can contract so many ancient spirit beasts. They definitely have a way to tame them. As long as we ask sincerely and obtain the method of taming the spirit beasts, even if it's an ancient spirit beast, we can still use it. Sima Yue did not have much interest in these people's words. It was only when she heard the name of the Sima family that she raised her head and looked at them. Very good, very gutsy. Her courage is commendable. Only, I don't know if she can live until then. The Sima family is also not a family to be trifled with. Although their strength has not risen yet, just one Sima Yue is enough to give us a headache. No matter how strong they are, they can't be enemies with the entire continent, right? As long as we join forces, there won't be a problem. This kind of good beast taming method should be shared with everyone, isn't that right? Sima Yue was so angry that she laughed. These people were really shameless. Sect Master Qin, you're so righteous. Then, are you willing to share your sect's cultivation method with everyone? She asked. Chapter 1736. The moment Sima Yue said that, the entire place went silent for a few seconds. Everyone was surprised that she would say that. Saintess, what do you mean by this? Sect leader Qin was very angry. Literally. Sima Yue shrugged. Sect Master Qin, you should share this technique that is beneficial to everyone. Your technique is also very good. Can't we do the same? Hanyu has always been curious about this. Or is it that Sovereign Qin only thinks that the cultivation method of the Sima family is good, but not others? Then he couldn't use this excuse. Go out and embarrass everyone here. Sima Yue mocked. Xian Qiuhe, who was sitting not far away, heard Sima Yue's words. He lifted his head and looked over. When he saw that it was someone he did not know, he frowned slightly. Sect leader Qin's face turned red. He was just looking for an excuse for his robbing. He did not expect to be exposed by Sima Yue in front of everyone. He had lost all his face. Pavilion Master Chiu, what is the meaning of this? Sect leader Qin felt humiliated. He stood up angrily as if he was going to leave immediately if he didn't give him a solution. Hanyu apologized to sect leader Qin. Chiu Chi instructed. Sima Yue stood up and bowed to sect leader Qin. Please calm down, sect leader Qin. Although my words may not be nice, they are for your own good. For our own good. I want to hear how you're going to help us. Sect leader Qin snorted. All right. Then I'll be sect master Qin. Sima Yue said, do you mean that you want to force the Sima family to hand over the beast taming method? Don't be in a hurry to deny it. We're not 3 years old anymore. We all understand. Sect leader Qin wanted to say something, but she stopped him. His face turned even darker. Although this Sima family isn't strong, you can't just look at them. You have to think about the power behind them. The small factions like Paramount Valley and the Heavenly Province Academy that we are on good terms with are not included. Have you thought about the Phoenix race behind them? Do you think you can fight against Feng people? There's also the entire bird race. Although none of you are weak compared to the entire bird race, do you have enough chances of winning? I heard that the Violet Water Dragon clan has already conquered the entire Ninth Star Ocean. Can you really fight against all the spirit beasts in the ocean? Sima Yoyue's words made the people who were hot-headed because of the ancient spiritual beasts sober up. So, according to you, we can't touch the Sima family? Another person jumped out. It's not that we can't move, but we need to use another method. We may not get the results we want if we force them, but we can do it at our own expense. As long as we give them enough benefits, they probably won't object. Sima Yue said, falling out with the Sima family completely or becoming friends with them with benefits, which one do you think is worth it? After that, she bowed to everyone and returned to her seat. Everyone was calculating in their hearts. Although the former had obtained the method of taming beasts, the consequences were endless. On the other hand, although the latter seemed to have lost benefits, it would prevent future troubles. Sima Yue looked at the various expressions of those people and sneered in her heart. If they wanted to touch the Sima family, it would depend on whether they had the ability to bleed. Will the Sima family agree? It seemed like someone was tempted. As long as the Feng people and the bird race don't interfere, the Sima family has no other choice. Sima Yue was ambiguous. Actually, smart people should know that her words were not credible. Let the Feng people and the bird race not interfere? Was that possible? Therefore this premise did not exist at all. However, those people had lost their minds at this moment. They only wanted to obtain the method of taming beasts and did not think about this at all. However, the Sima family is not to be trifled with. If we don't catch the ancient spiritual beasts, the method of taming beasts won't be that useful. Therefore, the premise is to have the ancient spiritual beast. Qiu Qi said, otherwise it's not worth offending a bad family for nothing. Therefore he went back to the topic. After what happened just now, everyone's hearts became lively. If they could obtain the ancient spiritual beasts and the method of taming beasts, their strength would rise again and again. The ancient spiritual beasts' killing intent is too strong. If we don't get rid of them, we will never have a day of peace. I agree to forming an alliance to deal with the ancient spiritual beasts. I agree too. Qiu Qi's lips curled into a smile. Since everyone agrees, then we can set an alliance. In the future we will all be together. In the future. Bang! A falling figure interrupted Qiu Qi's words. Everyone looked carefully. Wasn't it someone from the Sage Pavilion who landed in the middle of the field? Oh! Everyone was shocked. They did not notice how this person appeared. This caused a faint panic to rise in their hearts. It was obvious that the other party did not come with good intentions. If he appeared so quietly, wouldn't that mean that his strength was even higher than theirs? If the other party wanted to do something, would they be able to stop him? You are here to discuss attacking the ancient spiritual beasts. Have you asked for our permission? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's beautiful and cold figure slowly appeared in the air. Her cold gaze swept across everyone, causing them to tremble. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior. Everyone shouted. They did not expect her to appear here. Qiu Qi's expression was not good, but he was not surprised. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, why are you here? My Saint City did not invite you. The fake Holy Sun spoke out. I will go wherever I want to go. You ants have no right to ask. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior snorted coldly. A ray of spiritual energy attacked him. The fake Holy Sun immediately spat out blood and flew out. Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, don't go too far. Qiu Qi shouted. Am I going too far? You are all here to discuss how to deal with us. Do I still have to greet your people with a smile? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior snorted. Alright, have you thought about how to die? Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, you want to kill all of us by yourself? That depends on whether you have the ability. Although everyone's hearts trembled, they did not believe that he could deal with everyone alone. Who says I am alone? The moment Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior's voice fell, countless ancient spiritual beasts appeared in the sky above Saint City. The number of people far exceeded the number of people in the meeting. Hey, Supreme Fifth Spirit Senior, wait. A voice that Sima Yue was familiar with came from outside the meeting. Then the door was pushed open. Xiachang Tian, He Qindong, Fang Ming and the rest walked in. Little Roar was squatting on his shoulder. Seeing the tense situation, his eyes shone with excitement. Sima Yue looked around. The presidents of the various unions were all here. Everyone was here. Seeing the people from the unions, Qiu Qi frowned. How come he did not know that these people were here? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.